I've been doing pretty good, and we miss having you up in the spaces as well too. So I'm glad to see you up in here.
Oh, thank you. I just had to break off, and um like you DJ Ray, y'all my brothers, but it's just it's too much, and I'm not here for separation. I'm here to bring us together, and until I see people on the same wavelength, because the energy it was just getting too bad. Because when I'm ready to hop a flight and go and fight somebody, you know what I'm saying, I gotta stop. You know what I mean? Because
Well, now remember, your husband told you just to come up in the spaces that you that was family to you. So like that'd be one way of keeping the drama down. But you right, these Twitter spaces, they still tend to have drama and stuff like that. But
no, let me tell you, they have drama. They had my name. Now I haven't been on here, right? And people are sending me stuff because I guess I wasn't. You should see my box on here is a hell of a lot, because I just wasn't even with Twitter. So they started sending it to my email. Stuff that people that I respected said about me, talked about me, and I'm like, one thing I've always been is transparent. And if anybody's ever had a problem, we don't have to go on here and talk about it, but you could talk to me, because if I've done something wrong, oh, trust me, I will apologize. I have no problem apologizing. And the sad thing about it is they're all men. Men are attacking women like that, and I'm not with it. They're all men that I had a high respect for.
yes, man. Well, like I say, it's good to see you back. I hope you stick around for the space tonight. It's going to be a reparational.
I'm going to be here.
Yeah, but we glad, like I said, we glad to have you up in here as well. So stick around. Definitely add to the conversation tonight. We're gonna be touching up on reparations. Marcel, like I say, he had an interview with Fox News. As well as he had a Twitter space, kind of explaining exactly his talking points. So we just wanted to go ahead and touch up on that tonight as well too. Shout out to Professor. I see Professor. I see you up in here. DJ, I sent you a co-host invite. So whenever you get it, go ahead and accept it. But Professor's up in the spot. Shout out to my people. I see Nat over there on YouTube as well. Ray hadn't got up in here yet, but he's probably be making his way in a little bit. So shout out to Leon and
shout out to y'all in the space here. Shout out to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey DJ, your mic, you there?
I don't think I ever. Hi, Leon. I don't think I ever met you, but hi.
I'm sure you probably met Leon before. He's in quite a few spaces.
I've just been gone so long that I got to get reacclimated with everything.
JG, I heard you on the because I listened to some of that space. Of course, I couldn't catch that space live because we actually had a space going on as well too. So I heard you and I know you was one of the people that asked a question. So JG, I definitely want to hear what you got to say tonight about the space as well. Look like he's gone, but if he comes back, then we can definitely add on to it. Professor, did you get a chance to catch it in the space? Any of that replay? I know you like I said, we had actual Newstoter space going on last night, so I don't know if you got a chance to listen to any of the space that Marcel had going. DJ, I know you said you heard a little bit of it. I heard the vast majority of it. It was a pretty good space. I didn't hear all of it, but I heard more than enough. I heard it's like a 4-hour space, and I heard about a good 3 hours and some change of it. So shout out to Marcel too. Marcel he's gaining traction and he's gaining national attention. He's bringing he's getting attention, bringing it to the actual reparation topic. So when Fox News and people like that reach out as well to he's definitely putting in that work. And like Marcel was saying, that the work was also important. Like, yeah, it's great what's going on Twitter, but he's doing things out there in the actual street as well too, on the grassroots. So shout out to Marcel. He's come a long ways. I remember last year, everybody he kind of like caught on like wildfire, and everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people on Twitter went ahead and they was riding with Marcel. So he hasn't given up yet. He's still doing his thing. He's still fighting for the people of South Carolina and fighting for his people nationally as well too. And I know it was a little bit of confusion because he was talking about last night. He was talking about people. I guess they kind of got confused to a certain point that he was saying that the reparations he was talking about having it in bonds and stuff like that, and people kind of was like, well, we just want the money up front and this and that or whatever. So it was a very, very interesting Twitter space last night that they had. Like I said, I wish we could have actually caught it live, but we actually had the Newstoter Twitter space going on as well too. So he's been calling out Joe Biden, trying to get Joe Biden's attention, but Joe Biden, he hears the calls that people talk about, black people talking about reparations. Joe Biden and the Democrats intentionally, they more so than the Republicans. The Republicans want them to actually answer them, want them, because the Republicans like, hey, y'all, black people didn't put us in office. They put y'all in office. So they want it square and center on them. They want them to actually respond and actually say something about it. So Professor DJ, what's going on? Leon, what's going on as well too? Professor, you want to say anything real quick?
Hey, yeah, I got a chance to listen to some of Marcel's space, and yeah, it was definitely a spirited space he had there last night, man. And so yeah, I didn't get a chance to listen to all of it, but I got a chance to listen to a good bit of it, and definitely, I'm really proud of the brother, man. He's got the Fox News interview. He's gaining a lot of traction. I think as long as we continue to support our brother Marcel, man, we can push this brother right into the position that he needs to be, because we know he's on code for reparation. We know that's what he's all about, trying to fight for. So I'm really happy to see this brother he's staying the course, man. He hasn't changed one bit.
And what was that number Marcel put out that I think his calculations, he was saying that black people were owed about $3 million in reparations. And I know, and of course, and we said this before too as well, like, whenever the check gets cut for reparations, I think we have to be realistic that it's going to be on a payment system. It's not going to be a lump sum. I don't imagine that the government at one time, they said that they did make a payment for $1 million or $2 million. I don't see the government cutting a check for 40 to 50 million people all at one time for $1 million. I just don't see that. I could be wrong about that, but I don't see that. I know they're gonna. And one of his main things he was talking about, that's why he was talking about the stocks last night. He was talking about the worrying of inflation, and just an excuse that the government can come up saying, well, we can't do this because it's going to do this and it's going to do that to us. So, I know a lot of people were kind of going into that space. They were kind of questioning like, well, what's up with the stocks? Why can't we just get the money in the cash? Let's not even worry about stocks and trying to convert this or that, whatever. But we always hear about stocks and bonds. So, I mean, stocks are money when we think about it. Go ahead, Secret Sister. You got it. You there, Secret Sister?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I was trying to tell you that it was 2.8 million to Black Americans in reparations. Now, this is what it says. Congressional candidate demands the government pay 2.8 million to Black Americans in reparations. The job of reconstruction was never finished. Now, I have a question. Is this 2.8 million? Okay, and they're talking about cash bonds. Is that it? Are we all as Black Americans supposed to split 2.8 million, or did they have a mishap because maybe
No, he's talking about 2.8 million per person.
Okay,
Marcel's got a new package plan that he's put out there. According to the space that he was talking in last night, he's got a package plan that he's put together regarding how much money Black Americans are supposed to receive.
Well, I like that even better. Now, after the 2.8 million, and what else is what else goes with that? I'm lost, so I'm just trying to catch up.
I'm gonna be honest, secret sister. I didn't read the entire. I haven't read the actual what goes else too because, but I'm sure it's gonna be some other incentives as well too, like land. I know he was saying something about land grants. I heard him say he mentioned that as well too. But you gotta have other things. You gotta have and me and Professor said all the time. With the money, you also have to have land as well too, and you also have to have a policy to accompany the actual reparations itself. Like so, you got to have certain laws and everything else put in place for you as well to making you a protected class. Hey DJ, I think your mic. Hold on 1 second. Hey DJ,
That's not me.
that's somebody.
That was me.
What's up, Tyler?
Oh, what's up?
Everybody?
That was me. Well, that was me and you talking.
Okay,
Should I put mine on mute while you tell me?
yeah, I just heard some feedback. I thought maybe DJ mic was open for a second. It did show DJ. It didn't show like the mic was like your mic was off, but like I guess it's cool now. But yeah, he was just saying that basically we got to have he's talking about the 2.8 million. He's talking about land grants. He's talking about putting the money also having it in stocks. I mean in what not stocks but bonds as well too. And like I say, yeah, bonds, and you had quite a few people that they were wondering like, why would we put the money in bonds? Let's just go ahead and get the money right now, and this and that or whatever. So I think certain people were kind of confused about that. Sister Sean came in there. Sister Sean, she gave her expertise saying that she had been dealing in the financial system for a long time, and just trying to reassure people that hey, bonds, that bonds are money. I mean, like they're government insured.
Yeah, bonds is basically a guaranteed way that the government must pay. So I'm gonna tell y'all something. Those bonds, because we remember, or I should say, our grandparents. Let me put it that. Our grandparents remember the bonds of World War II and World War I. Those were guaranteed. The government could not renege on bonds. They had to pay out. And that's what Sister Sean was talking about in that space. Of course, Marcel was talking about that in the space. Bonds is the way to go, y'all, because this is a way to make sure that the government will pay out on what is owed. I'm going to land right there.
I have to agree with you because one more thing, the dollar bill is crashing. So bonds would be the best way to go because like Professor said, cash bonds, you can't. I have bonds myself, and I don't care what happened. The stock market can burn anything. That's pretty much like having extra land. Like, it's just awesome. So I would suggest that for everybody too. That was genius of him to sit back and think. Has he thought about running for president? Now, if he runs for president, I'll vote.
Well, I think at this point in time, he's more interested in becoming the actual congressman for South Carolina president. That's a big step, but hopefully he can go ahead and get to the actual get the congressman spot up there because Jim Clyburn, he's not going to be running in the next election. So, I'm sure. Marcel, he'll be much more seasoned this time around. He'll, he was just coming straight out of teaching and getting into politics. So now when it comes back, he'll have that experience under his belt, which should make him definitely a more dangerous person to go against this time around as well. Let me give a shout out to my girl, Miss Diane over there on YouTube as well too. So shout out to you, Diane. But yeah, it'll definitely, and Diane's up in the Twitter space as well too. So Diane, two places at one time, but we got Diane and Nat, but both on YouTube and in the actual Twitter space. So shout out to both of them as well. But yeah, he's also saying, I believe Marcel, was that number something like $190 trillion, Professor? He was saying that he believed was old as well.
Yes, that is correct. And the brother, I'm telling you, has thought this thing out, y'all, for the longest. And he's been about it for the longest. This is why we have to support the brother that is going to keep speaking on the issue. Because we know we got a lot of these other Black Americans that are running for different positions that are not speaking on reparations. Marcel has not stopped. He's been on it ever since he started. And that's what makes me smile, because he's taking a lot of chances by doing this, y'all, because we know how white America is when it comes to this whole reparations deal. You know, when you're talking about reparations, they come with all this heat when it comes to this topic. So that's why, as Black Americans, when we got one that's really about this, we definitely got to stand behind them.
Yeah, that's why the other night, when what was it, last week, we had that space. I don't know if it was a reparation space we had or whatever. It was a space, and the sister came in there, and I agree with some of the stuff she was talking about. And she was saying that we need to try to make maybe the reparation base around actual genocide and so much, not so much slavery or whatever. And, I agree with some of what the sister was saying, but she kind of was, the sister kind of took a shot at Marcel, and I was like, wait a minute, Marcel's not in this space to defend himself, so let's not do that. And I was like, well, no, sister, the man's not up in the space. We're not going to do that. So, if he was up in the space, and the way Marcel likes to talk, he would have been there to combat that, and then they could have they could have had their conversation. But since he wasn't up in there, I wasn't trying to have that. I have no issues with Marcel, and I do like the work that he's doing out there on the grassroots. $190 trillion now. William Darity, he was saying that 14 trillion is old, right, Professor? I know he was saying it was more in line of 14 trillion, and I think something like he was saying 300,000-400,000 per person was old, I believe.
Yes, William Darity is saying 14 trillion. I like William Darity's numbers better, of course, most of us do. I mean, let's just be honest. And I'm pretty sure if we could go higher, which I'm pretty sure there's some people out there that's going to say, hey, we actually are owed more than the 14 trillion. I mean, let's be honest, we are. If we really look at the numbers, everybody, of how long our ancestors have been here and the amount of damage that has been done from slavery, black codes, Jim Crow, the peonage system, the
redlining, mass incarceration, the war on drugs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we owed a lot of money.
Medical apartheid in this country, killing our family members off. Yeah, it's so much. Yeah.
Hey, Total, look, man, I want to see us get this money, y'all, because for one, Brother Total right there, we talk about BET. Of course, let me just say, I might talk about BET more than y'all do. I talk about getting BET back, right? But hell, with this kind of money, we could say, screw BET and just say Newstoter LLC or Newstoter News Network LLC. You know what I'm saying? It'll be just that huge. And that's where we want to take this thing to. It's just so much that we need to get done, y'all. And and that's one of the reasons why I'm glad I came into this space, is because I was able to connect with a brother like Newstoter, connect with DJ, brother Black Majority, because I have learned so much from these brothers, man, since I've been back up on Twitter. I had left Twitter, and I'm glad I came back. And then, of course, you Secret Sister. I'm glad I got a chance to meet you. So many up in these spaces, and so I'm hoping that we all can continue to learn from each other and make sure that we continue to stay on this path of what we're trying to do, which is get these reparations. But there's other things we got to get down to, y'all, which is we got to protect our family from these shootings and these just killings, like what this guy, I hate to even say the guy's name, Daniel Penny. We got to get some protection, y'all. That's one of the biggest things on my mind right now.
Real talk, Professor. And what's the vibe, everybody? What's the vibe that you guys feel in terms of the Republican? Because I hear that some people say, Republicans, there's some people in the Republican Party that could possibly get behind the entire reparation idea. I don't hear anything. One thing I do remember that Marcel mentioned in his interview with Fox, he was saying that Donald Trump had I think he had something with the African affairs that he was setting up, that he was going to go ahead and send $500 billion into the Black community. $500 billion would have definitely helped push the needle and did some things in the black community as well too. Do you think that's a realistic possibility if Trump does become president again, that they could potentially go ahead and push $500 billion into the actual black community? Also, I see Ice Cube is getting kind of attacked as well. Like, you can tell when it's election time coming up or it's nearing, people that's considered a threat to the status quo, like they're really going ahead and doing their best to try to knock them up out the block. But $500 million, and Marcel was saying, of course, that and I think a lot of us agree that you having the Freedmen Bureau, and I know I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into, because I know some of our people say, well, I don't want to hear about the Freedmen Bureau. I don't want to hear about this or that or whatever. Just I think we need some kind of banking system, something, where we're in charge of. And I know people say, well, if you got the Freedmen Bureau, it can't be all black and it can't be this, and it can't be that. But I would definitely like to have a Freedmen Bureau or a Negro Bureau or a Black Bureau or some kind of bureau that black people, have an actual say and leading it and actually managing that money. I know people say, well, if it's federal, then it can't just be all black and it can't be this and it can't be that or whatever. But that's the thing most important too about the reparation thing, is that you have to have, like I said before, money, land, and policy. And you have to have those three. To me, those are vital. The money, of course, is number one. The land is number two. People say, well, land. I hear people saying, well, I can take the money and I can just buy the land. But why would you take the money that it's taking forever to get, and then go ahead and get land that was promised to you from the beginning? General Sherman was the main one. If people would have just followed what Sherman was saying, if Lincoln and the rest of them and all of the rest would have followed, you would have got the 40 acres there. So why not get the damn land? Why not make that part of the actual deal as well too? And not some swampland garbage either. I'm talking about some land that you can actually go out there that's fertile and you can plant and that can produce and everything else that can work for you. Money, land, and also policy. You got to have certain rules in place, certain laws in place, specifically for the descendants of chattel slavery, specifically for them, and not for anybody else, but specifically, which was supposed to be in the civil rights movement, but that never happened. We saw what happened with that. That became the free for all, white women and minority and everybody else, and black people had to go ahead and divvy up with everybody else and get the crumbs that was left. So to me, those are the three most important things when you're talking about reparations: cash, land, policy. And I mean, and just in that order too. Secret Sister, go ahead. I know you got your hand up.
I wanted to say, how you were just saying, how Donald Trump, about the Donald Trump or the whole political system. I mean, this is how I feel. I'm tired of these white people picking our leaders, picking how we get something, when we get something, and all that. I'm tired of that. I mean, and I just want to know, is anybody else tired? I have grandkids that I'm about to leave, and I don't know if my children will fight like I fought. You understand? And it's like, wow, if I go now, because I feel it would be easy if every freedman, and it's like real simple, if every freedman, we can reopen the bureau, if every freedman, if we signed a contract to give $1 a month. Now they say it's only 40 million of us. Of course it's more than that. But let's just say the 40 million. Okay? That's 40 million every month. I mean, it's really like, that's like a simple way, and yet $1, and then we have a institution that we can go to, that we have our institution we can go to, we can borrow from, we can get houses, cars, and loans from, and we don't have to be in their pocket at all. And when we do finally get our reparations and our cash grants, we can house them in the Freedmen Bank. I mean, I don't know if anybody else is thinking that way. I had been talking to men behind the scenes on the issue of protecting ourselves, and I thought I had it. I have some that is still they're pushing for me to get it started, but it's just not enough. And I just feel like we have to take this stuff serious because they really don't care about us. So, I mean, nobody. So we got to care about ourselves, and we got to quit sitting back and saying, okay, we'll wait till they say what we're going to do. We have to sometimes make it happen. And if I have to be the body that has to go for the future, then I don't care. I mean, I don't know, I'm just that way.
Well, I think what you're saying, Secret Sister, and I agree. I think right now, while you're fighting for reparations, I don't see anything wrong with doing group economics. I think that's something that we've talked about for years. Dr. Claude Anderson has been a champion of that, and I think that what we see everything in this country, how the prices are raising. I think that that's something that we need to strongly consider trying to do. Even if it's in just small little sections in our towns, in our communities, in our states or whatever. Even if we can't get a national we can't get a national movement going. Let's start it in like little towns and cities and places we live at, the states we live at. Let's go ahead and try to start linking up with group economics. I mean, you could get 500 people or 1,000 people to start maybe investing $50 to $100 in a month. That matters. I mean, you can start buying property, you can start creating businesses, you can start creating little restaurants and getting laundromats and start getting little corner stores and things like that we take for granted and stuff like that. I think we also need to start looking at all the products in our house, the simple things, the dish detergent, the laundry detergent, the soap that we bathe with, the lotion, the cookies that our kids eat, the potato chips, everything we need to start looking at, hey, how can we go ahead and start creating start doing group economics and creating our own little black businesses and stuff like that. Start by, we see Nabisco and we see Procter and Gamble with the toothpaste and stuff like that. Let's go ahead. And I know, of course, we have people already out there doing it, but I just think we need to do it on a larger scale. And we also need to start taking that money, and we see the way that our people are, and how they're able to endorse other products and make these products sell billions of dollars worth of merchandise, whether it's tennis shoes from Nike or whether it's Gatorade or whatever it is, McDonald's. Our people can go out there, as sellers of these products and stuff like that, Popeye's chicken and all this other stuff, and make these people tens of millions of dollars, billions of dollars. Well, maybe it's time that we start going ahead doing this ourselves. And we a lot of times our people get money, they want to buy these franchises from, and I can understand you want to buy a well-established franchise where they have the management and everything in place and this and that. But maybe we can take a look at some of these smaller successful restaurants and start going to some of these black-owned cities or some of these predominantly black-owned cities, finding a good restaurant, then maybe hollering at the owners saying about franchising and things of that nature, where instead of you paying $2-3 million to get a McDonald's franchise, you may only have to pay $150,000, $200,000 to start something like that. So it's something that we realistically need to look into. Reparations definitely has to be the way. But I think, and like you're saying, Secret Sister, in the meantime, that let's go ahead and do other things as well too while we're fighting for this. Let's show that we have the ability to, as my mother and a lot of the elders say, chew bubble gum and walk at the same time. Let's act like that we can actually walk in the rain and we're not sugar and we're gonna dissolve anything like that. Let's show a little bit of intestinal fortitude here, a little bit of toughness. Let's go ahead and use our mind. Let's start creating our own think tanks. Let's create it around reparations. Let's create think tanks around reparations to see how we can do that. But let's create think tanks that's going to be beneficial to the Black community as well too. So like I say, yes, we're pushing it. We're looking for the reparations, but in the meantime, while we're doing that, while we're fighting for that, we can start setting up things and stuff. Like we can start setting up our own little credit unions and stuff like that. So when those checks do come, these Black-owned credit unions will be the ones that's actually where we're depositing our money at, and we can start doing that in multiple cities. So we need to start looking at creating our own Black-owned bank. If we don't have the money to create a bank, let's go small and let's do a credit union, man. Let's go back in the day. Let's get some laundromats and let's get some dry cleaners and let's get some of these mom and pop restaurants, and let's also holler at some of these Black farmers so we can go ahead and create our own. We got thousands of damn food deserts all throughout America in the black neighborhoods. Let's go ahead and holler at some of these black farmers so we can go ahead and get our people some fresh produce as well too. So let's not make it that the minute the check does hit our hand, we got to go ahead and hand it right back over to Mr. Charlie. You know, let's start small and get to the point that, hey, we can start getting our own our own car dealerships and stuff like that. Because you know, you get the money. Some people may need a car, and it's not flossing. If you need a damn car, you need a car. You gotta have transportation, unless you're in one of these mega northern metropolitan areas and stuff like that, where, you know, the actual transit system and stuff like that. But if you're in one of these smaller southern cities where you don't have it, like New York and some of these other areas that's got the subway and the busing system, hey, you may need to have a damn car. So let's set it up to the point. Let's start working together now if we can, which we can, because we see other groups do it. We see other groups doing it, and then the first thing we say is, well, why can't we do it? It's kind of like Marcel said, like, everybody wants to put all the pressure on this dude right here. Everybody expects him to be the savior. Well, he's going out there, he's doing what he can do. But at the same time, like he said, if he does get to Congress, he's one man. Well, one man can't do it all, and one man won't be able to do it all. You're going to need him to get up in Congress. If he gets up in Congress and he starts fighting, trying to get other people up in there, all of us, not everybody's cut out for politics as well, too. You know, that's another thing. I know a lot of people say, well, just go in there and run. Well, no, we need to have specific candidates that can get up in there and that can represent us and run. Not everybody's meant for politics. You know, not everybody has the right attitude, the right disposition. Politics is a dirty, dirty business, you know, and not everybody can take the pressure of it. So we need to have the people that can actually get up there, that can actually take the pressure, that can actually still go out and do what they need to do. They won't crack underneath the pressure. They have the right makeup, you know, to go in and do what they need to do. Because Marcel Dixon is doing what he can do, but he can't do it all. He's just one person. He's one man, and we have to get away. We got to get rid of that mindset. That's something that hurt us in the 60s. When one or two leaders, you know, end up being killed, then, you know, everything falls apart and collapse or whatever. We can't have it to that point. That's why people say it's about the code. I mean, it's about the code. It's about the message. It's about the vision. That's what it's truly about. You know, it's not about individuals anymore. It's about the entire collective. If we're trying to push things forward, if we're really trying to be a serious group of people, and that's what these other groups do have an advantage over us. They think as a collective. They move as a collective. And we're still too individualized at this point in time. DJ, what's up? You in the space? I know you be in and out. You up in the space tonight?
Yeah, I'm up in here. What's going on, man?
Real quick, DJ, what was that amount of money again that me and you was talking about earlier? That time that crazy amount of money you talking about was owed for reparations?
Yeah, if you go research Sean SHAWN, Sean D. Rochester, the author of The Black Tax. That's the name of the book. And you can see it on YouTube with him, being interviewed by Hofstra University and other collegiate schools or whatever. 6.4 quadrillion, bro, and counting every day. You don't pay reparations, United States government. The price goes up 6.4 quadrillion. And this was back when he wrote the book, so I think it's 6.5 now, 6.6 at this point. You know what I mean?
So quadrillion is supposed to be after trillion then.
Yes, sir. You know what I
And
mean? Yes, sir. You know what I mean?
and just
Hey DJ, is that the Rochester that he turned like the MLK Park into something?
I'm not sure what you're saying, sister.
Like he turned it Martin Luther King Park. It was like a giant chalkboard where communities help so people can write on it and write the accolades of American history on it. It had to be American history, but I do know of him, and you are right. That's just one of the people that, but he is such a big success. So I would say I would agree with you.
let me ask you this real quick, DJ. That number because I believe that came from Newsweek. That number that they threw out, the quadrillion number. Do you think that's a accurate number? Do you think that's just a number as a way of, kind of trying to diss black people, saying, hey, you have about as much chance as getting this as going to the moon. Hey, secret sister, mute your mic real quick.
I'm sorry.
But do you think that quadrillion, that 6 quadrillion, or whatever you just said, do you think that they realistic, this person that wrote that realistically believes that black people could get that, or do you think that was just a slap in the face, an insult, of saying, well, hey, this number that we made up, you know damn well it's impossible that y'all gonna ever see that, so we just putting this number out there because we feel like the entire reparation thing, it's just nonsense. Like, do you actually, like, when you hear somebody like William Darity come up with 14 trillion, you can say, okay, well, that's realistic right there. But when somebody says quadrillion, a number that, we never even hear about, we never even hear quadrillion, like in normal day conversations. Do you think that's something that was just made as a slap in the face for black people?
Okay, so before I answer that, right, did you get a chance to look at the screenshots I sent you?
No, I didn't get a chance, man. I was running back and forth. I didn't get a chance to check it out.
Go look at it. Just let's look at them 2 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Especially the ones where it says the Philip Scott show, and I'm gonna post this right here in the chat. Excuse me, y'all. I'm still getting over the snippets or whatever. So I'm gonna post it right here in the chat. So it says right there in that screenshot that America got, first of all, just to answer the question, just let me get to it for the context of the room and what's going on again, everybody. So Sean D. Rochester, the author of The Black Tax. So you can say his numbers is this, and you can say Darry's numbers is that, but this is extensive research that these brothers actually have researched. Remember, again, Darry's numbers is not based off 250 years of slavery. It's only for the Reconstruction era to 2023. So that's only a little over 100 years or whatever. So Darity just wants to close the racial wealth gap that we see it as now. Also, remember we spoke, or when I was telling you about Obama, prior to Obama being a president, the racial wealth gap still existed, but it wasn't as wide of a gap as it is now. Obama made white people richer through a process called quantitative easing. Look that up, y'all. Quantitative easing. Through the recession and all this bailouts, I heard y'all speak about that. You know what I'm saying? These type of things. And also, let's not forget about the executive orders a president can do. You see what I'm saying? To help a specific group of people. Because, 250 billion of Ukraine, another 55 billion of Africa. You know what I mean? Did you see the one screenshot where it says the U.S. aid to all these countries? I sent you in a text. So imagine if you just add up all them numbers for 1 year. That's a down payment on reparations right there. And that's about $1 trillion right there. The United States spends every year giving aid to foreign countries. 3.2 billion to Israel, 4.5 whatever to Afghanistan. The war in Afghanistan, let's talk about that. $300 million a day spent. Repeat, $300 million a day spent in Afghanistan for 20 years. You multiply that number, you get $2,160 million. So when the United States saying, "Oh, we ain't got the money," when Marcel, I actually wound up listening to most of it. Marcel is spot on, but forget all that inflation shit, Marcel. I've been to the printing press in Philadelphia. These people create the money. So if you heard Negro Commander in Marcel's face, he right too. All these people getting cash payments, getting checks cut to them in a grain type form. I want my fucking money straight up, the exact same way you get to the tether gang. You know what I'm saying? But I do like the idea of the bonds because it's going to be guaranteed, no matter if you cash that bond in or not. It's going to be guaranteed that the United States government will owe you that debt. You know what I'm saying? If you decide to ever cash it in and turn it into green dollars, like you said. But on that note, Marcel, you need to look into the different types of bonds. There are multiple types of bonds. Every bond ain't the same. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe we could create a Freedman bond or a Negro bond or something like that. You know what I mean? And it will work out better that, maybe correlates to the Freedmen's Bank or whatever. And a lot of folks got issues with the Freedman Bank thing. White folks was included in that and all that other stuff. Well, they won't be included in that. How about that? You know what I'm saying? So, again, we could have gotten reparations yesterday if it really wasn't so much of us constantly up here discussing what the hell is going on. And I just came out of a Zoom meeting but they didn't let anybody up with Narcan and Cobra. They had the chat closed in the Zoom, and they didn't let anybody up to speak. So when you talk about this other demographic of black, got my fingers up, right? These people are Pan-Africanists. So y'all need to take Ray Winbush, Juma, all these other people, y'all need to take your ass back to Africa. And y'all never ever speak about Africans, West Africans, or us reparations too. The Women King movie explains that shit. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, can we get our money, our land, or whatever it is that we're owed? And it don't really matter what the number is at this fucking point in the game. Just give me fucking something. You know what I'm saying? Because niggas is out here hurting. Keep it real. And I'm going to post that information to the track. And like I said, you know, I don't think that's an opinion of Sean D. Rochester or Sandy Garrity. These folks really sat down and did the mathematics to this shit. You know what I'm saying? So you can say it's 14 trillion on Sandy Garrity. That's just a down payment. You can say it's 6.4 quadrillion on Sean D. Rochester. In my opinion, that's a down payment. You owe us so much more than what the numbers are being calculated. Same thing with Marcel. I think, what did he quote?
He said like 190 some million from what 190 trillion. I'm sorry, 190 some trillion.
I knew it was over 100 something. But that's just a down payment, Marcel. Yeah, give us 190 trillion in bonds. We'll take it. You know what I'm saying? Because we could cash that shit in like a check anytime we feel like it. You know what I'm saying? I'll post the rest of the information. I'll stop talking for a minute. No stuff though.
Cool. Yeah, and definitely, like you say, you was in that chat with the Narcan and Cobra too. So anything else you can tell us about, you definitely come back and let us know that as well too. $14 trillion. Oh, you saying 14 trillion? And I see we got some of our people, Phoenix. I'm gonna get to you in a second, sister. Shout out to you coming up in the space as well too. Shout out to our people coming up in the space. I see Wilson, she's coming up to speak as well too. But $14 trillion. And you say that you look at that as a down payment. And listen, let me just go ahead and say this. I'm in agreement. And I told you that earlier when we were speaking. There's no dollar amount really too great really that we shouldn't be getting. Like, in my humble opinion, if they was to give us half of the country and every industry that's in this country, we was at least get a quarter of it, be tax exempt, get land, you know, that to me would be that might be even right there. And when I say half of the country, I mean half of the damn country as well too. Every industry, especially everyone that took place that made money off of slavery, we should be getting at least a quarter of the damn proceeds from that. So on top of the policies and everything else, so you know, you won't get no argument from me on that. So let me just go ahead and say that part right there. Realistically, you know, I think the $14 trillion, I know, and even if we got 14 trillion, if we go by William Darity, you know, we're not going to get that 14 trillion all in 1 year. It'll be something that'll be, Wilson, I approved you to come up, sister. So I don't know if, I did approve you to come up. Let me send you the, invite to speak or whatever, because I definitely tried to get you, to come up here. I saw you was trying to come up here, but you know, the 14 trillion, I said, and I know the first thing out the U.S. mouth is, well, we can't give you 14 trillion, because that's another thing we was talking about. Let's find out. I want somebody in the space, because me and DJ, we was talking about that, the actual gross domestic product of the United States, because we say we believe it's anywhere from 20 to 33 trillion dollars. So let's say on the low end that it was 20 trillion dollars was the GDP, but I think it's higher than that. You know, people will say, well, how are we going to give you $14 trillion when that's almost the entire GDP of the nation and stuff like that? So I would say this right here. They're going to have to give us this in payments. I see no reason why, at the very least, if we just going by William Darity, that I see no reason why we can't, like you said, all of those other countries you mentioned and stuff like that, if you can give money to all of the rest of them and you add them all up, all of the foreign aid and everything they're giving, if you can give money to all these people here, there's no issue why you can't give at least $1 trillion a year to us. You should be able to give us at least $1 trillion a year. No problem whatsoever. You can dig in your pockets and do that, and it's not going to hurt you in the least bit. So let me just go ahead and say that. Let me also say, guys, up in the Jumbotron, we have the Newstoter YouTube channel up in there. We have the Newstoter YouTube channel up in there. Please go ahead and subscribe. That is the one in the middle. While the space is going on, we've been able to get our people to go over to our YouTube channel and support us. You're helping the Black-owned media site grow by doing that. So please, if you have not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, for those that can support us on Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the #1 curation platform in Black America today, the #1 curation platform. in America today. Let me go ahead and also for those that don't have Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the Jumbotron. Let me go ahead and go to Phoenix. And then Wilson, if you wanted to speak as well too, go ahead and raise your hand. We'll go ahead and get to you as well too. And for our other people that's up in the Space Secret System, I'm gonna get back to you too. I'm gonna go ahead and get to the new speakers, and I'll get back to you. For other people that's up in the space as well too, please go ahead and tweet this space out. Go ahead and share it. Go ahead and share it and tweet it out. Definitely leave a comment if you can, and just let everybody know what you think. Let me go ahead and get to Phoenix. Phoenix, how you doing tonight? And let me give a shout out real quick to Brother McCoo. Brother McCoo, thank you for your contribution on Cash App. And we got a subscriber on YouTube. So thank you, Mike. Thank you for your subscribing to the YouTube channel. So you got it, Phoenix.
Hey, peace and love, family. I'm going to be quick because I'm not feeling too well tonight. But, hey, you know what, DJ and Newstoter, you guys better preach tonight. I'm just telling you, I just love the facts. The facts are they give away so much money. And I'm gonna speak on this. The military industrial complex that has no limit. The defense budget is limitless. You can pull from there. I mean, we really don't know how much money is in that defense budget. Not to mention, I want to say this. I just want to say how incredibly large and important it was for Marcel to get that interview. That just really amplified, our mission and our message and in genocide, because this has been just a genocide. So I'm a little rambly and all over the map, but I want to speak on the bonds as well. The bonds are definitely we can set up our own bonds, our government-backed bonds at 6%, 8 to 9% interest rate, right? That money can definitely, that there is so much money floating around in this country, and we see it as they give our reparations away to foreign aid, to illegal immigrants, to COVID. I mean, there are still cities and states still sitting on billions of dollars of COVID money, trying to figure out what they're gonna do with it. There's just and really, and I just want to just kind of zero in on the defense budget. Yes, I mean, I know everybody's, we're patriotic and everything, but there is so much wasteful spending in that budget that goes unchecked all the time, like forever. There's just so much wasteful spending because nobody sees those numbers. And you know it's in here. If you can just give $100 billion to Ukraine in like 4 or 5 months, there's money. So if we just have to accept that. We have to think big. I mean, those numbers sound big. Well, 14 trillion. Where were they going to get that money from? They got that money. It's always there, and it's in that treasury fund for lawsuits that come up against the United States. That's limitless. You got defense. We got the bonds. I mean, there's so much money. It's just that we have to know that we deserve it and that it's available. And we have to think big. We just forget all the zeros. We just have to think big and vote for it. And they owe it to us because they have participated in our genocide ongoing. And I land there.
Think about this real quick, Phoenix. I appreciate you coming up, sister. But I remember when the COVID pandemic started, and they actually gave the banks the ability to go ahead and print up $1 trillion a day just for business, just to keep business afloat, just to keep the regular business and the commerce in the country going. They gave the banks the ability to print up $1 trillion a day. Now, if they print up $1 trillion every day, and I don't know if they include the weekends or not, then you're talking about $365 trillion that the United States government gave the banks the ability to go ahead and print up. So let's just let that sink in for a second. If they did that every single solitary day, and I don't know if they did it on the weekends, but let's even exclude the weekends. How much money are we talking about? If you're taking all the weekends out and just Monday through Friday, and they gave them the ability to go ahead and print up during this period when you had the COVID pandemic, You talk about a lot of money. You talk about enough money where within one calendar year they could have more than went ahead and taken care of reparations if that's what they really truly want to do. There would be no excuse, there'd be no reason why they couldn't do that. Let me go ahead and get to you. Oh yeah, yes, ma'am. Let me go ahead and get to you, Wilson. Like I said, anybody else that wants to come up and speak as well, too, because we know a number of you guys were in the Marcel space last night. And real quick, Diane, she said something on YouTube. Let me read her comment. She said there are saving U.S. bonds that have to be held until they mature. How many years before these bonds mature? So that is an interesting question as well, too, that Diane. Let me go ahead and get to Wilson. Wilson, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, hey, how you doing?
What's up, Wilson?
Good. No, I just wanted to say, Sean Rochester is legitimate. That book was brilliant. I don't know if anybody does any book reading in the room, but this would be one hell of a book to review because.
Wilson, can we get you? Can we get you a little bit louder if possible?
Yeah. Can you hear me better now?
It's still about the same. I was just trying to say we get you a little bit like you were the other night. You were pretty loud.
Oh, I don't know. I don't. Okay, I'm gonna speak louder. I don't know if it's my Bluetooth on my phone, but I'm just saying that Sean Rochester is very legitimate, and I read this book, and it's a brilliant book. And he, by profession, is like a financial analyst. He's a financial consultant. I mean, he's a legitimate guy. So, I mean, what he writes really gives you pause. It's something to think about. And if there's any opportunity to listen to this book on Audible and have everyone listen to it and talk about it, it's a brilliant book.
All right. Thank you, Wilson. Thank you. And DJ, what were we talking about? Because I know a lot of times when we talk about, I know earlier we were talking about the GDP for the United States, and that's the gross domestic product or whatever. But one thing that we fail to realize is that we focus solely on what the U.S. makes here in this country, but that's something me and DJ was talking about earlier. Like, what do the United States makes in terms of international money? What type of money are they making internationally? Because we never focus on that. We just focus on the actual GDP over here. We never focus on if the GDP is 20 to 33 trillion dollars. How many trillions of dollars are they making overseas? Because we know that they're all over the world, and they're not just there for the health. They're making money on every continent on the face of this earth. There's not a continent, with the exception of maybe Antarctica, the United States is not making money on. So exactly how much money they're doling out billions of dollars. I'm sure they didn't give $55 billion to Africa just for their health. It's got to be something in return that they're getting out of that continent. So exactly what internationally, what is the United States bringing in? Because I'm pretty sure if they're bringing at the very least $20 trillion in GDP here, 20 trillion right here in this country, I would think at worst, and maybe I'm wrong, at worst, it's got to at least be making 10 to 15 trillion overseas, I would think. I'm sure you make more at home, but the United States reach is long. So I'm sure it's got to be a crazy amount of money. To your knowledge, DJ Professor, have you guys ever seen any stats on that where it says what the United States makes internationally? Does anybody know that?
I'm looking it up right now. Hold on one second.
Yeah, to my knowledge, I can never remember seeing anything that showed you what the United States made internationally. What about you, Professor? The professor might not be there. You there, Professor? Okay, Professor might not be there, but we'll get back with you, Professor. Like I said, yeah, I'm interested to find that out as well too. We always talk about what they can't make and what's this, and that goes to show you're talking about an empire here. The United States is an empire. They have territories all over the world, and like I said, they have influence all over the world. They have bigger influences on other people's government than the actual natives that live there. So their ability to go ahead and control the conversation is unmatched right now. So I mean, I definitely always want to know exactly what that looks like. And Wilson, you made an interesting point as well too. I know you said that the brother was a serious scholar, and I'm not taking that away, but it just what was that number again? What 6 point? What did you say? Quadrillion? Was that quadrillion you said, DJ?
Yes, sir. With a Q, capital Q.
Yo, that's a lot of money. Like, I
Get in the jumbotron, y'all. Look at that information I just posted up there.
yeah. Definitely do that, y'all. And like I said, I see Mr. Engaging down there in the comment sections. I mean, down there as a listener as well, too, Mr. Engaging. When you get a chance, I want you to come up here because I heard some of that space last night, and you made some interesting questions as well, too. So I definitely would like to get your opinion and your perspective. I know Mr. Engaging wasn't exactly keen on the actual bonds, and like I say, bonds are money. It's a reason people always talk about stocks and bonds and things of that nature. Diane made an interesting point as well too when she was saying how long would these bonds take to mature. So that's something that you also have to put out there as well too. If you got reparations right then and there, people want their money right then and there. Some people want to hold it. So that is very interesting. Marcel talked about payments as well too, and I'm a big believer that I don't believe that they're gonna get. If you do get a lump sum, I don't think it'll be the entire amount at one time. I think you may get maybe a nice chunk of that lump sum, but then you get the payments as well too. He mentioned something with the bonds that you can pass that along to your family in case you die, whatever. You can pass that to your kids or your loved ones and stuff like that. So that's something too to also look at as well too, guys. Like, hey, you pass away, because we definitely don't want the money going back to the government. Like, it's your money, so there's no way that the government should get it back. And and even that's something we need to look at too, whether we go the route of having bonds or whatever. The money doesn't need to be going back to the government. It needs to be going to the family. You go ahead, and that family that however it's broken down, whether you have a will or not, whoever's the closest living relative or relatives, they need to go ahead and split that money up. Will or no will, they need to go ahead and split that money up. Whether if you got kids, if you don't have kids, and you got a brother or sister, you don't got a brother or sister, you got an aunt or an uncle. Hell, if you don't have anything, you're a damn orphan and you know anything, your closest friend, go ahead and give them that money. So yeah, we got to go ahead and keep it like that. Muffet, I see you came up here. Did you want to add something to the conversation, Muffet?
Yes. Good evening, everyone.
What's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, and I hope everyone else is too. I just wanted to chime in. I did hear some of Marcel's space yesterday, and I'm not against anything that furthers the interest of our people. I just wanted to get into some basic definitions of what bonds actually are, because bonds are an instrument where one party, usually an institution or the government, offers to sell that instrument, and another party, usually investors, offer to buy it. Bonds have a
say debt, bro, instead of instrument, because that's what it is. A bond is a guaranteed debt that okay as well.
They have a face value of what you purchase it for. They have a maturity date, the time in which they mature, and they're also issued for a number of years. Which in the coupon rate is the interest you get back per year until you get the full return of your face value back. So what I'm wondering is if what's being proposed as a bond can actually be called anything, because we're expecting the government to both issue and pay for these bonds. It looks like to me. If that's the case, these instruments could be called anything. It's just the government paying us what we believe is owed to us, but not directly all at once, but over time. And I guess it's being called a bond because we want to make it legally where the government can't get out of paying us. So in that sense, I can see it being called a bond. But in actuality, this isn't the customary bonds that corporations sell to people on the open market, or that municipalities or the federal government issues to investors. But in the sense where the government can't get out of paying us, because on the open market, bondholders have a right to get paid back before stockholders. if a company or a municipality ever defaults. So I can see it being referred to as a bond in that sense, but in the traditional sense, it's not really a bond. But I want to get away from that. I wanted to ask everyone in this room something. I'm in the process in my state of trying to organize politically with some like-minded people and form new parties, or the beginning of new parties. I see the reparations issue, and I'm wholeheartedly 100% behind it. I see what's going on in California, but I've also noticed that in the last election cycle and, throughout the past, no politician, Democrat, and especially not Republican there, but him vehemently against it. No one wants to back reparations, even when they're pressed and they're back up against the wall. Like Stacey Abrams, some other politicians that had elections last election season. No one wants to back reparations, and I want to ask everyone, how long are we willing to put up with them? How many election cycles or years are we willing to put up with them, either hanging it over us like a carrot, or when it comes down to it, like Fireburn, saying absolutely not, before we're willing to say, hey, we need to stop asking them, politically organized, get together ourselves, and take power where we can. So that's the question I'm proposing to everybody. Because if the Democrats can, from my perspective, and this is my opinion, it's based on empirical, evidence though, if they can, they would string this along for years and years, holding out just enough hope to us until they can get the children of the current illegal immigrants to take over the reins and be able to have enough voting power where we're irrelevant to them. We'll never be irrelevant because we're over 45 million. At some point, we'll be over 50 or 60 million. So we just need to realize what our power is. But how long, my question once again, are we willing to continue talking about this and waiting for them to do something when all evidence says that they're not interested in the issue? Even when they're losing an election, they still refuse to back. Now, I know California is an anomaly, and I'm very hopeful for what happens there. I'm waiting and seeing, and I'm going to do everything I can to help. But aside from that, and even if we see that falls through, what is our next step or our plan B? I'll stop there.
Okay, so Muffet, so you're suggesting that pretty much that we go ahead and just leave both parties, form our own party, and just go from there is pretty much your suggestion, right?
On different levels, yes. I think we can do both things at the same time. I think we can advocate for reparations. I think we can begin forming our own political organizations, if not parties, maybe a mixture of both. And that also, like in the 1930s, when Roosevelt faced so many labor unions, the Wobblies, the communists, and a number of other labor unions that was in the midst of actually tearing the fabric of the country apart. That forced the government at that time to take action, even though they were reluctant about it. If we show that we're serious and we start organizing amongst ourselves, that'll pull the government to negotiate because they don't want to lose power over us. I think it's still best that we take that direction, but we'll also see potentially them willing to compromise once they see they're losing control and they're losing us as their base.
Why not just because that's an interesting thing, and I don't have an issue with that, but at the same time some people say, well, why not just leave both parties and go as an independent, and then you just focus on just picking your own candidate.
Oh, I'm all for that. That would be my first choice, but for the people that are a little uncomfortable about that, I'm trying to be reasonable. And I'm trying to show, like, if we take action, what the reaction from the parties would be, most likely. But my first choice would be for us to just approach things as black first, our interests first. Because we know, under no circumstances, either party has our interest in mind. And they will string out this reparations issue. They're in control of the levers of power, and they're in control on the federal level. They're in control of the Fed. The Fed can generate money the Fed is different from the Treasury. The Treasury is responsible for the national budget, but the Fed can issue money at will. It's like someone mentioned how I believe you mentioned it, how they generated money for the COVID funds. I think it was upwards of $6 trillion in the 2009 economic disaster. They generated like 21 trillion secretly for banks and corporations. Not everyone even knew about that, to keep the economy afloat. So they have the power to do that. They always show that they have everyone else's interests, whether it's Ukraine, the military-industrial complex, immigrants. They can generate money like that for them, but they're not doing anything for us. And we need to find this a tactic to force them or coerce them to do something, or say, hey, we're going our own way. Like I'm always in groups. I believe in us going after state power. If we do that, then we would have the power of the state behind us. We would have the ability to make laws and make policy. We wouldn't be able to generate money like the Fed, because that's not constitutionally protected or constitutionally possible for states. But we would have the ability to create state banks. And we can, once we get state banks, we can fund businesses that are productive. And we can generate money that way through our productivity and having our own banks fund our own businesses.
Well, what you're talking about is something that people have definitely they've talked about for a while, forming your own political party. That's definitely a possibility. Like I said, I think that I think we can make just as much an impact if we just went ahead and we left both parties and just voted as an independent. I think that would send a real a real change of power to them. Let both of them know, like, hey, well, it would definitely get the Democrats' attention, and then the Republicans couldn't help but notice it as well too. So I get what you're saying in terms of forming another party. It just seems like third parties here are like a third wheel in this country, that they almost seem powerless to me. I mean, they're really, when you think of any other, like all the other races, like the Latinos and the Hispanics and stuff like that, how many are really interested in starting up their own political party? Because the Democrats and the Republican, they pretty much have it. But like I said, I personally think that if we did go independent, I think that would really shake people up. If you was to get a chunk of black people tomorrow, 30% of the black voters, and I'm not even talking about all of them or half of them. If you got 30% of black voters go ahead and switch independent, that would, and just overnight, that would make national news. They be talking about it on the CBS Evening News, the NBC Evening News, the ABC Evening News. Fox will be talking about it. CNN be talking about it. MSNBC be talking about it. They wouldn't know what to do. You'd have Democrats coming out left and right. They'd be pushing them black Democrats out there, telling them all that we've accomplished over the past 60 years. I can't believe this is happening, and this and that. Like, they would be literally pissing themselves if that happened. So I get what you're saying. Like I said, and I can't, I don't disagree with that. I mean, if people want to do that, then, more power to them. And because neither party's done crap for us, to be real. But I too also think that we already have a third vessel out there that we could use and use it effectively, and and still grab the attention of people out there as well too. So I definitely I'm not dead set against what you're saying. I think that that's an avenue, and I think the independent route as well is a very, very powerful avenue as well too. Something that we as black people have never really even tried to take advantage of. We've never really tried to go all in on the independent route. We've been so loyal from the time that Lincoln freed the slaves. We was Republicans for 100 some odd years for those that could vote. And then when you had FDR come in, and he allowed us to desegregated the army, and he came with all of his stuff, his policies. Then we became Democrats, and then with Johnson, that just kind of solidified it with the civil rights signings and everything else. So for the last 60 some odd years, and really, if you want to go back to FDR, we really been Democrats. So and once we get with one party, we really don't switch up. We really stay there, no matter for better or worse. It is a marriage with us. For better or worse, we stay there. We don't give a damn what happens. We ain't walking out. We're not annulling it or anything like that. We gonna take whatever they give us. We not leaving. And it would take something drastically to change, I think, really. But like I say, you see more and more black voters are getting disenfranchised. And like I say, hey, why not? Like you say, Muffet, another party, that wouldn't be bad. I just see that as like, it could happen. It could work. Like you say, I think that they are trying to go ahead and dangle that carrot out there. The Democrats don't want to. It's because we're not making them choose either. They're putting it out here and they're talking about we'll do studies and we'll form panels and we'll do this and that. Where their heart's not in it. So they're trying their best to go ahead and get out of it like they've always tried. And the Republicans kind of want them to go ahead and commit, because the Republicans think that in their mind, they think that, hey, go ahead and go the reparation route. That's going to be political suicide for you Democrats. We'll go ahead and we'll get all of the borderline voters and stuff like that, and we'll go ahead and we'll take them as well too. So it's definitely interesting. I think we need to go ahead and use every asset that we can use. And then, like I say, whether that's forming a political party or, like I say, going the independent route, I think that's something that we really, really need to go ahead and look into. Appreciate that, Muffet. Let me go ahead.
Yeah, and if I could just say, I apologize to everyone. I wasn't trying to change the subject. I just see how they're stringing things along, and even in places like California, where they've made a lot of progress, the Democrats, and California's Democratic bastion, there's no actual people in the Assembly or the Senate, or the state Senate for California that, to my knowledge so far, has gotten behind the reparations proposals. So the task force has come through with proposals, and out of everyone in that state, no one has backed it. I'm not speaking about the government, I'm talking about the lawmakers. And as far as reparations, I'm sorry.
Hold on real quick, Phoenix, let him wrap it up, and then I'm going to go ahead and get to you.
Oh, okay, quick. As far as a party, even if it's just organizations, we don't have to be a party for the entire country, the entire nation. We're just targeting counties, municipalities, and states where we are the majority or near majority. And that's all. We're only focusing on where we can win. I'll stop there.
All right. Thank you. Let me give a shout out to DJ for his contribution on Cash App. Phoenix, go ahead. We're going to get to you, and then I'm going to get to you, Mr. Engage. And I see you up here. Jeremiah, I know you was on YouTube, so shout out to you as well, too. Go ahead, Phoenix. You got it.
Hey, let me say this just real quick, Phoenix. So what you said, Muffet, and you said, Todd, on starting our own pack. Well, these other folks have had a pack for years. The Asians got their own pack. The Spanish people, the Jews even got their own pack. Black people or Negroes are the only ones that don't got our own pack. So when this was brought to Yvette Carnell's attention that we need to start a pack, she told us no, then turned around and did it later. See what I'm saying? But go ahead, Phoenix.
Okay, thank you, DJ. Hey, I want to say, Muffet, you're spot on, and I want to say that you should connect with Black majority state migration, because he is speaking you guys are speaking the same language. He has a plan that is being implemented now for I guess separate living and I'm so off today, y'all. I'm sorry. Separate government, right? But I'll say this too. The pivot must happen, period. That it is essential for us to pivot, period, from both parties and really represent who we are. And what we are when it comes to elections is we swing elections. At this point, this is the cycle that we have to do it, because we see what they're doing with these illegal immigrants, and we see the play on it and the warfare tactic on it. So we have to make the pivot this cycle to independent. And we're going to go right up the middle. Our votes are for sale. We are going to the negotiating table. So independent is what it is. We can call ourselves whatever caucus we want to within that. But we have to represent what we are, and we have to convince our people to start to register as independents. Take your registration away from these Democratic parties that we've been supporting for 60 years and gotten nothing. We definitely don't want to pivot straight to the Republicans because they ain't offering nothing. So we have to go straight up the middle and bring them to the table and get our reparations, and that's how it's going to happen. So that's just where I want to land on that. I can't remember what else I want to say, but you guys definitely need to get. Oh, this is the other thing, and we are running like-minded people in our state. So I followed you. You can follow me back, and I can message you so that we can get together, so that we can start running. We need at least 2,000. That's just bare minimum in every state to represent us in every local and state and federal election. So let's get together. And I'll land there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Phoenix. Let me go ahead and get to Commander or Mr. Engaging. I guess Mr. Engaging. I guess you got rid of Mr. Engaging, so I have to just start calling you Commander then.
Yeah, you can still call me Mr. Engaging, family. You go with that. That's how you met. But Commander is just the title for my organization as me being the president, family. But you met me as Mr. Engaging. That ain't no big deal. That ain't no sweat. But I do want to chime in on what's going on today, and I want to say thank you. What was some of the recap? Because I do. What do you want me to touch upon? Because you said that you heard some of the comments I made.
Oh, well, I briefly heard, because, I heard a bunch of different people as well, but I know you were kind of, you were basically like, hey, I don't want the bonds. I want the cash. I don't want to trade in yellow paper. I want the green paper. And you were saying pretty much that, they give money to everybody else in the world. We want our money up front as well, too.
Yeah. Okay. There was a couple things I didn't like from that. I feel like they play Mr. Magoo with the money. I'm just going to keep it a band with you. And I feel like when they saying that they're going to give us the yellow dollars, I'm like, screw that. You can give these immigrants or the people who they shelling out money to all around the world, you give their asses the yellow fucking dollars, or the yellow dollars, excuse my language, and you give us the green dollars because we know what we're going to do with it here on American soil. So that was the argument that I was really per se presenting. He wasn't going along with that. I don't know what was the reason why. You need to ask Brother Marcel that. But that was just some of the pushback that I was presenting on that, because I find it very disrespectful that they ain't going to give me the real dollars, the real thing, but they're going to give me some cornballs garbage. No. Cut the check. Give me my paper straight up. That's the first thing. And then if they want to go through this bonds and all this other nonsense, then I asked them, what about the commission on this, or what about running the intergenerational what do you call that, where you can make money off of it, residual income off of this stuff, and all these other components that's tied to this, like no answer to that. So that's another reason why I'm not really personally feeling the bonds. I just want me my cash. Like, that was the UN standard that they had for everybody else. But when it comes to the Negro black person, now they want to switch it up to something other than different. I think that that's uncivilized. I think that that's some BS. I think it's disrespectful. Give me what's owed. And it's always coming from the Freeman side of things, respectfully. It's always coming with some switchy, some janky move, or I'm not really black, a.k.a. Naheem in the gang. Like, I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of it. If you're not a Negro, just move on.
Well, now, Mr. Engaging, I did hear Naheem, and even Naheem, kind of had some issues himself about that, because I heard some of the space. Naheem had some issues about the actual bond situation too, and I know the Freedmen and the Negro kind of have a thing going back and forth, but let's just try not to get into that point, man.
Okay. No. I'm just getting tired of these guys promoting all these weirdo agendas or whatever they're trying to pull. But when it comes to just direct cash payments, I've said from day one, I just want my money from the government hands to the brother hand. That's the end of discussion. If you're not talking that type of lingo to me, then you already missed the boat with me. And I've been on that type of time before the commission, before Kamala Harris and all the gang. I was saying it then, and it was not popular. That's the reason why the Freemans didn't want me around, or any other people, because I know we need reparations, but the way that they're going about it, I'm already trying to figure out to follow I'm seeing. And these baby bonds or bonds or whatever you want to call it, I'm not feeling them. I don't care what they call it. It's a form of bonds. It has no cash, no dollars. It makes no sense to me.
Now, you do know when those bonds do mature, and there's so many different bonds as well, too, but when those bonds do mature, you do get the money out of it. And I feel what you're saying, that you want a direct cash payment and everything.
Can I push back to the bonds, respectfully? I'm thinking of back in the Civil War. Like, the Confederates had the bonds to support their government. And when they lost, know what happened? They had to eat the cost of that. So, no, I want my cash straight up. That's the reason why. And that was one of the things that I wanted to touch upon. But Brother Marcel kept cutting people off, kept derailing the conversation. So, brothers like me get fed up and just don't go into these people's spaces anymore. Because they don't want to hear the truth. They just want to push their agenda from some white man on top. I'm just going to keep it a bean with you. And there's always some bootlicker pulling some BS. Always giving our people the short end and expect for us to eat it. And I'm just tired of it, man.
All right. I know, like I said, I know there's a lot of disagreements within this whole reparation. I don't even want to call it movement, but just reparation awakening. And I kind of wish we could kind of put some of that stuff to the side. I know there's going to be disagreements. I think that and I can't speak for you, Commander, but I think most of us feel that Marcel is trying to put in some work. He is trying to do that. I did hear Marcel say that he also wants direct cash payments. That he's talked about that as well too. So I don't think that Marcel is part of some agenda to try to go ahead and sway the thing. Hey, Wilson, I think Wilson. Yeah, Wilson, your mic is not muted.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so I don't, he's not trying to go ahead. Marcel's out there. He's putting in a lot of leg work, like you and like so many other people that's up in these spaces. So, let's just like I say, that's one of the things that's kind of hurting us too, y'all. That we're gonna need as much unity as possible. Everybody ain't gonna agree. The passion is great, but we got to go ahead and try to, even when you have a disagreement with somebody, let's go ahead and try to funnel that in a positive way. And like I said, I know when I heard the bond thing myself, I know a lot of people, I said, well, yeah, I know this is a lot of people are going to say, well, I'm not down with this. I'm not down with that as well too. So, we do know, and I get what you're saying with the bonds and stuff, people, but let's not forget, it was bonds, but it was also not just bonds what the Confederate had, but Confederate dollars was worthless. So, let's be honest. If it got to the point where the economy crashed in the United States, whether you got bonds or stocks or the US dollar, whatever, it ain't gonna be worth the paper you wipe your behind with. That's just, that's just real. Then you would have to have some currency like gold or silver on hand, which is always a good thing to have, but we know that's in scarcity right now. So as well too. So, I definitely appreciate you coming, and as always, Mr. Engaging, as always, you're definitely welcome to speak up in the space. But it was
the interest rates. It was the interest rate. That's what I wanted to say. I wanted to know the interest rates on the on those bonds. If there was a compound interest rate, I wouldn't be tripping like that. I wouldn't be complaining like that. But he couldn't even break it down with that. And that was my issue with the bonds with this guy. Like, you dig what I'm saying? I want this stuff to last for very intergenerational. I want my great children feeling this nonsense. And if they not feeling it, then I feel like it ain't hitting right. So I want compound interest. And that's something that I think that if they're going to push this bonds thing or whatever, that's something that we should be banging on.
All right, brother. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. Let me go ahead and get real quick. Let me go ahead and get to Jeremiah. Jeremiah, I know you was over there on YouTube for a while as well too. So shout out to you.
How you doing today, brother?
Doing pretty good. How about you, man?
Doing well, pretty lane. I'd like to say one thing. This is a good conversation that we have, and I think everybody been pretty respectful. It's a lively discussion. I think one of the things we need to do is we're talking about attacking things politically. We have to have an agenda for reparations. Is the focal point right now, but we need to look at every area and have that are needed fuller heads, and also use Claude Anderson's 4-story building and attack politics that way. We don't have to necessarily go independent. We don't have. Well, I'm not for anyone. I'm for this, of course,
They're all shysters in my estimation. But we get an agenda, and then like Glover North was did with the I can't remember the name of the contract he had with the white supremacist, Republican white supremacist branch of government, and they all signed saying they weren't going to raise taxes. You get a black agenda, and you can do it for your city, your county, your state, and we can from there get a national agenda and have them sign that national agenda and hold people to the fire. Say, you said you were going to do this. You could deliver, whether you did not give enough effort or you failed. So we're keeping your behind out of there, and we come with a check. So we get the, I think that's the way we need to go about getting these things done. This is a take specifically what you want and when we want it, how we want it. Go to these elected officials, people running for office, and have them tell them this. We tell them what the hell they're supposed to be doing. They don't tell us what they're supposed to be doing, because clearly these Negro, look at this situation we're in. Politically, is not the only thing we can look at and do things on the ground. But nobody out here waiting on reparation, demanding reparation, and we continue to build in our local communities. So I land my plane there.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you. Guys up in the Jumbotron, once again, we got the YouTube channel. We got us a subscriber. Let's see if we can get us a couple more before the actual night's over. We got about 37, 38 people up in the space. Also, we're trying to raise $5 for this Twitter space. So for those that can donate on Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the #1 curation of Black news today in America, the #1 curation, the #1 Black American news curation platform of news today in America. So that is $Newstoter, $Newstoter. For those that do not have Cash App, we have PayPal and Venmo up in the Jumbotron. For those that can donate at least $1 to the night Twitter space and to the actual platform, would be greatly appreciated. Let me go ahead. I got my girl Rella up in here, and I look forward to hearing what you got to say. Rella, what's going on?
Hey, Newstoter, DJ, Professor, everybody in the space. Time is a ticking, and no time is being wasted. All the conversations are always great and welcomed, and I want people to stay in the space of keeping your mind open to all avenues of solutions, because we're going to definitely have to be able to put things together as they come and get people up to speed depending on where people live. And so I really want people to get into the habit of taking your passion and turning your passion into a level of action. It's not that anyone is wrong. It's that all theory has to be applied and acted out in order for us to see whether or not it is correct. And I think that that's one of the things that we continuously miss, because we believe that we all have the solution, but not one solution has been implemented and actually yielded fruit. And I think, we have to take in consideration calculations and things like that. So I'm very analytical, and I can compartmentalize. I get just as passionate as everybody else. You guys know that. But we have a lot of work to do. It's not easy to have a conversation on spaces when you're trying to get so much information out, and all of us are in different areas. We follow different people. We believe certain things. We cut people off, don't want to hear them. I mean, you have to stay fluid, if I can use that term, in this respect. And that's going to be important. It's going to be important so that we can move forward. And then that way we can digest information. We use what we can, throw out the rest. Those of us who are spiritual, we call that discernment. We use what is purposely needed, and then we throw out the rest or set it aside if it does not apply. The reparation spaces are going to be important. As you know, we have the reparations rally that's coming up. There are events coming up on the weekend. We seem to have an issue with just people getting involved. We come to spaces because you don't have to fully pay. You can support Newstoter when you want to. You can support DJ when you want to, Professor, and everyone in here when you want to. But are we doing it because we need to build these legs in order to get what we need off the ground? Brother Moo has a couple of businesses. One apparel company where he also can, be the go-to person when it comes to redeveloping manufacturing. If we have to do something like that, like we really have to be strategic with the things that we say, wholeheartedly. Otherwise, all we're doing is meeting in spaces, and that's pretty much it. I think Muffet's really outside of no taxation, and I think a couple other people who's really put some skin in the game and got some things, started rolling in the physical realm. But in the physical realm. But we need legs, arms. This car cannot run on an empty tank. So there's a place for everyone. There's a place for conversation. You might not like the people or who the messenger is, and I'm learning that. I had to really get to a point where it wasn't a freedman, FBA, ADOS, Negro conversation. It is a historical conversation. It is a conversation that surrounds the American descendants to the point where it all represents us. It is our story. So if we don't get into a position where we're the driving force behind how things are going to be allocated to us, how information is going to be delivered to us, and who controls the narrative, then we're always going to argue about whether or not someone was a freedman and this person was a Negro and this, that, and the third, when if you're fluid, you understand history actually embodies it all, and it's our story. So I land there and I say that there is a lot of work to be done. Those of you who are up to having a meeting for some much work that needs to be done, I need to get with you tonight. And for those of you who are unable to attend the rally, peace, love, and prayers to you, financial prosperity, because we need our reparations allies who are in the room with us. You are welcome. So please, let's get going, you guys. I mean, our future is dependent on it, and so are our ancestors. And I'll let them.
Thank you, Rella. And let me say this real quick. And I'm gonna go ahead and kick it to I think Muffet, you'll be next, and then we'll go back and swing it. We'll get back to got you too, DJ, because I know you always pass it since you're a co-host or whatever. But listen, we tried, me, DJ, and Ray, we can tell you, like, we tried to do what we can to try to hash out things with our Negro family on Twitter, and our FBA family, and our Freedman family, and it's just to the point now that we don't even try anymore. We just like, hey, we just try to meet at a common ground with them. I respect the work that all of them do, and just try to keep it moving, because no matter how much we try to have that dialogue and just try to keep it how it is, they just agree to disagree. And I've come to realize that, like, just like, hey, everybody has their own path to how they're gonna get to the destination they need to get to, and I just leave it at that. I respect the work that they're doing. You got some very intelligent brothers and sisters that's in on each side of the equation. So, I just respect the work that they do and everything that they do. And I just try to leave it at that. And hopefully when we get to that destination, maybe we may all arrive from different ways, but we all get to the same spot. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that, that we can work on things, have certain common grounds. But if we can't, one positive thing I will say is that, hey, people have their own little inner circle, and they can work and they can move the agenda within their own inner circle, even if they can't do it at large. So I look at it that way. I know now that it's going to constantly be, when with anything, it's going to be bickering and beefs and everything like that. So, I just pretty much, and I think, in my honest opinion, I believe that they all in their own way mean good for people. You mean good for their people. So I just look at it like that. I push it forward. They're gonna keep doing what they want to do. Like I said, we done had all kind of spaces, and we don't even, to the point now we just laugh it off and just like, okay, well, they like, oh, okay, well, yeah, we know they're gonna agree to disagree, so we just keep it moving, and it is what it is at this point in time, man. It's just like talking religion with people. You just leave it be, and hey, let people find their own way. That's all I can say. Real quick, let me give a shout out to my girl, Miss Diane. Miss Diane, thank you for your contribution on PayPal. Let me go ahead and get to Muffet. Muffet, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Okay, I have two things. First, I just wanted to say to anyone, if anyone's attending the June 18th rally, I just wanted to let everyone know that I had rented a space right there in downtown Washington for 3 hours in case anyone wanted to meet and we could discuss things offline. That way we can put our personal ideas, plans, or strategies or agendas on the table, and we can actually get to know each other, meet each other, and network from there. And maybe create some type of tradition where whenever we have rallies, but not a tradition, but the beginnings of a movement, whenever we have rallies and a lot of us come together from different parts of the country or the region, different regions, we can all get together and have a meeting apart from the rally. That way we just don't have the rally, we get inspired, then we pack up at the end of the rally and go our own ways, and we don't see each other again, or we don't have a chance to organize anything. So if anyone's interested, it's a small space, probably can fit upwards of 20 people, but I have it for 3 hours. If anyone's interested and you are coming to attend the rally, maybe we can discuss the details of it, and I'll let you know where it is and what the time frame is going to be. The second thing is, I've become aware of the contentiousness between the different groups, the Freedmen, FBA. I wasn't even really aware of the groups, the Negro group, but it reminds me of there's the Indian, I think it was Tecumseh, and he saw early on in the colonial times that the settlers were pushing more and more west and moving into his territory and other Indians' territory, and he did all he could to travel north, travel west, travel south, to try to bring the nations together, and no one would pay him any mind. There was no one that was concerned as he was about the Europeans or the white man's manifest destiny taking over their land. And what happened is that the Europeans ended up, taking over the land, pushing them out because no one wanted to unite and fight it off. I know that's not going to happen to us, though, because we're much stronger. And even though some of us don't get along, there's plenty of us out there that we can still reach to, make things happen where we can put ourselves in a better position. So I'm really not worried about that, but it would be better if a lot of us saw beyond our own immediate disagreements to the bigger picture. That would be great. And I wish at some point, because I try to be a unifier, that we can get to that point. It's hard to get over that hurdle, but I really would hope that some of us would see beyond our own disagreements and look at our collective self-interest. I was about to end it there, but something else came up on the space. Getting back to the bonds, because I do see the commander's hand up, and I do understand what he was talking about, because there was a sister in the space yesterday that spoke about bonds not being susceptible to inflation, and that she had bonds on the federal bonds, probably tips. But we have to understand, from the late 80s until now, inflation hasn't really raged out of control. It's always been 2% or under 2% every year, up until just last year. Then it started hitting 6%, 7%. It's raging out of control. You can buy bonds, but if your bond interest rate, I'll give you a good percentage. I'll say 7%. You buy $1,000 bond at 7% for 5 years, and the pace of inflation, you will lose out. Not that much, but you will lose. So it is possible for inflation to lower the effective value of bonds. I'll put it in real terms. If you buy $1,000 in bonds, and that $1,000 can buy 1,000 bottles of water, and inflation gets so crazy that $1,000 at some point only buys 500 bottles of water, then your bonds it halved in value. It's not about what like if you buy a bond for $1,000, you will get $1,000 back. But the issue is, what would that $1,000 buy? And that's all. So we can look at it that way. But once again, I'm for whatever solution helps us collectively. And the first goal is to actually get to that point where we're getting something. So I'm for any solution. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Muffet. Thank you. Let me go ahead and get to hey DJ, you want to go ahead before I get to Mr. Engaging?
Nah, go ahead real quick. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mr. Engaging. You got it. You there, Mr. Engaging? Let me try one more time. I know sometimes he gets caught up in his work. Mr. Engaging, you there? Okay. I guess we may come back to Mr. Engaging. I don't
I'm here. My bad. It's just, you know these damn tablets take forever. I got the African headset going on too in the middle while I'm working. So I wanted to say sorry about that, brother. So yeah, I wanted to add on to something about to what Sister Love Blacks. I actually do agree with her on this, and this is another reason why I created my organization in the first place, is that we need to have a civic component that actually build good and effective leaders that's going to affect change in our community, and that's going to be in the interest of our community. If they're not going to be in the interest of and if you start peeling back and looking at some of these politicians like Kamala Harris, all of them, they do have ties to other organizations. All of them are just not in the interest of Negro Black American people. I'm just going to keep it 1,000 with you. Even down to their charter, they're not in the interest of our community. So my suggestion is support. So even if there's the Freedmen's or other Negro Black organizations or such, I think it will be in our best interest civically to be supporting and backing these institutions instead of like the NAACP, the Urban League, and the such. The reason why I'm going at it in that direction is because those organizations could be those legs and the arms that sister is speaking about to getting that political work done. And that's much needed in our communities. So the only way that you can get that done is by actively supporting and backing those civic institutions and those groups. So that's just one of my suggestions. And I really do support what that woman was talking about. She was dead right, that we do need to be supporting our organizations. So that's about it.
All right. Rella, you got it. Go ahead. And anybody else in the space that wants to speak tonight, definitely go ahead and request to speak. Raise your hand up if you're already a speaker and you want to say something. We'll get to you.
Hey, just real quick. I bonds, the letter I bonds, those are the type of bonds that are protected from inflation and recession. So if we were to go get a bonds, it would be an I bond, in my opinion. I'll post it to the chat. Go ahead, Rella.
And let me say this real quick before you start, Rella. If now, and I just want to put this out before Rella starts. If the government tomorrow was to go ahead and the type of bond that you just said, DJ, and this is for the space, if they would say, you know what, we're going to give you guys $1 million in these bonds right here, would everybody in the space be willing to take that, or would they say, well, no, I actually we'll wait on something better? Go ahead, Rella, you got it.
Well, I mean, and that's where, and I agree with you, Newstoter, because that's where people need to really buckle down and understand economics and how many ways economics we've been deprived of economics. bonds is not just one. It's one way. It's not the only way. And so I do believe that we should be demanding always economic repair in the sense of infrastructure when it comes to what the money could turn into. Even in the lens of digital money, once digital money really hits, it could be a real issue for us, even if reparations does get passed, if that becomes a point of a stronghold, if you will. So we definitely need to look at all the avenues, and that's pretty much where people definitely should land. If you are doing, I think, this work, or you're in any industry, whether it's industrialization, I call it 5.0, or talking about some form of economics technology, you want to make sure that you understand the money component behind it and how it's going to impact us or not impact us. We still have to make sure that even with trades, that we are in a position where we become, controllers of even trading with other groups, and that we are having some power of authority in positions of power. That's one thing I do appreciate with, the Black majority state and Black American homeland, and us having those discussions, because it's important. Those things are important. That's important when you're talking about a majority Black state or a majority Black city, or just your family or structure. Starting with your family structure. What does your family structure look like right now? How are you being impacted economically, or how does your finances look, and what would it look like if you had bonds? What would it look like you don't have no bonds right now? What about all the other components of money? So, even the legal side of things, real estate, assets, stuff like that. So, the other piece of it is, Muffet, I know that you have your space, but I want to say this for Saturday. We are going to be doing the tour. Our Story Tours, and KB Barnes have graciously worked together to put on a tour on Saturday, starting at the Smithsonian, and then ending the night with a dinner. The dinner was and is to actually get people together to talk. It will be more intimate and private. We've had to table the restaurant that was on the books and move to a different location. So that's being worked out. But we need people to get your tickets. The tickets are on Eventbrite. I posted the link. I'll try to pin it to my page. But we need people to come. We need you to bring your families, bring your kids. I think one guy asked me, should he bring his son? Yes. Bring the babies. You want them to see these type of things happening, us forming social and governing ourselves, where we're working on protecting ourselves. We want our children to be involved, because that's how they're going to learn. We somehow missed the ball, and now we have people running around, in this world like Narcan and Cobra, trying to run down the street, and everybody a Pan-Africanist. So listen, let's just get involved. Let's get going. We really don't have no time to be wasting. I need all the heavy hitters. If you're a heavy hitter, to link up, tap in, whatever you got to do, even get Pookies and Ray Rays. I don't even care at this point, because everybody needs some level of reinvigoration and connection. Even the 304s, hoes need love too. I don't care wherever you landing, whatever you want to call it. If it's people that are a part of our community, they need to tap in. They need to get involved. We need to be ushering people into the conversation around reparations, and what does it look like for us. After having a discussion with Frederick Douglass's great-great-grandson, and, watching another commemoration of people who never got their resources. And then once they fought for the little they got, someone came and eminent domained it away. So if that's not enough for y'all to get off y'all airs to fight, I don't know what else. I honestly don't know what else to say. I really don't. So, and I land there.
All right. Thank you, Rella. Let me give a shout out to Aunt Lai and Michelle. Thank you for your contributions on Cash App. I don't know. Professor, you there? Professor been quiet. I don't know if Professor there tonight. Professor, you there? Yeah, I hit Professor up earlier, but I don't know, Professor. I don't know if Professor in the space or not. I hope Professor ain't go to sleep.
No, Professor, old man can't hang with y'all boys.
I don't know what happened to Okay, he putting 100 sign up. Professor, you ain't having any audio problems, are you?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay, because you pretty quiet tonight. Normally you would have been in chime back in or whatever. So I'm like, what's up with Professor? So just checking to make sure you there, Professor.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm just listening to everybody else's ideas tonight. So
No problem. Mr. Engaging, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, there was one thing that I did want to add on that I did like, that I think somebody said in the previous space. Remember when Marcel was there, that if they default on the loan, that we should be like moving like China, that they need to, since one of the ladies was talking about infrastructure, like they might need to cough off a bridge or something, like, or cough up a port or something, if they're not paying the tab. We need to be really ruthless about this, family. Like, I just can't see it no other way. I don't want no shorts. I want my money. I want what's owed. These college debts is breaking my back right now. Like, real talk. These WPI institutions, they cost too much. So you goddamn right I want reparations. So like, yeah, I just don't want to take no loss. So like, if they default on the loan, yeah, they need to cough off something like a port, maybe a bridge, maybe a damn airport. That's the type of time I'm thinking about.
Appreciate that, Mr. Engaging. I can definitely feel you on that as well too. I know you're not a big fan of the bonds, and I mean, I think at this point, like Rella was saying, that's an option. Nobody's saying that one way or another that needs to be done, but I think we need to have as many options available to us as possible. So definitely first and foremost cash, but that's also another option as well too. So at this point, I don't think we need to. We're not sitting here saying, well, yeah, it's going to be this, it's going to be that whatsoever. But it's just something just to keep your eyes open and just something to potentially look at also down the road as well too. And like I asked that question, if the bond DJ, what type of bonds you said that was again? That was without the inflation.
It's called the I bond, the letter I bond.
I bond. So.
But that's just one of many bonds. There's many types of bonds, and I guess I got to give some pushback to Mr. Engaging or whatever, because I did listen to Marcel's space or whatever. There's nothing wrong with obtaining a bond, because that's nothing more than a debt that will be promised to be paid. And if we are going off basic, BS principles of what America says inflation is and all this other stuff, then yeah, you can pay me overtime. You know what I'm saying? And if I leave this world, hey, my kinfolk can get it or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be guaranteed to pass on to them. And don't forget, bonds incur interest. You feel what I'm saying? Every 6 months. So, if it was supposed to have been 100,000 per person up to, like we were saying, just make a guesstimate numbers, 1.5 million a person. Say that's what we were supposed to have. And they're going to do 100K for the next 15 years. Well, it's going to be more than 1.5 million by the time they get done paying us, because you're going to have to pay the interest on the bond too. And an I bond is one of the many bonds that is recession and inflation proof. So they have to have the money to actually pay that shit, bro. You know what I mean? But yeah, I want my money up front too, though. So, maybe we could do half and half government. You know what I'm saying? I'll take some cash, some land, and a couple bonds. We can work it out. Just give my damn money. You know what I mean?
I saw, I saw Mel. She asked a question: how will bonds work? So, and I'm gonna be honest. I have a nephew that's in the financial sector. I wish I would have thought about hitting him up, but he's probably at the Heat playing tonight, and I know he watching that game there too, so he wasn't about to come up in no space. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I am definitely not into the financial sector like that. So I can be honest with you, I have no idea like how these bonds really work and stuff like that. But he is an expert in it, and like I say, definitely, we definitely need to hold a business space, a business/investment space, and I'm gonna try to go ahead and do that as well too, and have him as one of the actual featured speakers. He's a young man who graduated high school at 16, graduated college at 20 from Morehouse University. He's worked at Wells Fargo. Has his own business now. He's a young man. I think he'll be 28 this year or so. So, very young, successful, young brother with his head on, and he knows what he's doing. So definitely, he would definitely be one of the expert speakers in there. So he would definitely be able to answer that much, much better. Mr. Engaging, go ahead. You got it.
Yeah, WPI. My thing is with the bonds things. I can't be saying. I can't be Kevin Booker in this thing. This Booker thing. Oh, my bad. What I was getting at about these bonds and stuff like that is I would prefer, if they're going to go that route, to be at least compound interest. No different from certain other communities that's across the waters. They have like intergenerational compound interest. And that's something where like I think that we should be pressing a lot harder. If they're going to throw us in these baby bonds, you're going to tie up our money, you're making money off of that money. So therefore, I want to make money off of that money too, even off that interest too. So that's the reason why I'm saying that we should be attacking the interest as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually said that, bro. I don't know if you can hear me. I-bonds have a current interest rate that you have the interest put on it every 6 months. So, say for example, we were to get from the federal government $1.5 million as our federal reparations. That's an example, right? So, if they had to pay us over time, 15 years, that's $100K a year, and every year that whatever type of bond stays in there. From my current understanding, what is this that I'm looking at? Current position it's 4.30%, like every 6 months, bro. That the bond interest goes up. You know what I'm saying? This is an I-bond, so therefore meaning I-bond right here, and I posted it in the chat right there, treasurydirect.gov, where you can actually buy a bond straight from the government. This is not nothing new. They just don't teach us this shit, bro. So I-bonds protect against inflation, earn both a fixed rate of interest and a rate based on inflation. The overall rate is reset twice a year. So therefore, meaning your rate will actually increase dually or double twice a year. You know what I'm saying? So
is it a way that we? I'm cool with that. Is it a way that we can increase the interest or increase the or if they don't pay it off in a reasonable time, that we can leverage more interest on them, so we can weigh more on them. You dig what I'm trying to make this.
They have a certain period that has to be paid off, though. I think, right?
Yeah. But what I'm trying to do is try to make this stretch out to eternity. It might sound.
But if you put it in, if we talk about it and have it put into a trust, and have reparations to the point where it's an automatic trust that the government has to create in regards to the American descendants, and then everything else can be worked out from there. You can actually structure, how you want your bonds to be. You can structure your CDs. I mean, there's so many different things.
Right.
And if we demanded automatically money like that to be put in a trust that has to be, you can set up your requirements on where it goes and, what family hands it's going to pass to, that sort of thing. Like, this conversation is a must conversation, but we definitely need to have it in a sense of, one way can't be the only way. And that's why I was saying that earlier. It has to be we have to have a plan A, B, C, and D. And we need to say, okay, well, we want A and C to be at least the two that we really, really want to go for. But if we can get B and D, together and everybody on accord in an agreement, we can make moves. Like, we have to be that type of fluid when we have that conversation. And I think people who are in the realm, like you said, Newstoter, of finance, and, you know, getting people set up when it comes to wealth, those are the people we really need to, you know, say, hey, these are our concerns, and what do you think? Can you give us some insider information? That's a space that is definitely welcome.
Hey, Rella, can I ask Rella a question real quick?
Go ahead.
I just want to get some insight. Rella, I hear what you're talking about. I agree on some of it, but I have something that's might sound a little bit better. I think that cash should be the preferable, and if other options are available, if they're willing, and make those other options available. So there might not people that might not want to have cash. If they want to switch it, leave that option up to the person how they want their reparations, but don't dictate the terms and how the reparations should be dealt out. That's
right.
kind of like that's
more about that though, Mr. Engaging, and not to cut you off again. If the federal government were to pay each one of us $1.5 million, just as an example, and then it was over a 15-year period, regardless if it's an I bond or not, you know what I'm saying? The bond will increase. So yeah, you could get a down payment or a first payment in cash. We'll give you $100,000 check because we don't expect you to spend that shit up maybe right away or whatever. But at least you know the following year you could get a bond that you could cash that shit. But the problem is with the bonds, if you cash it prior to a certain amount of time, like some people say, it might take time to build up. This is why we got to make sure the bonds that they do give us is guaranteed $100,000, and it will incur an interest rate of whatever the current market rate is per that bond. You know what I'm saying? So the following year, you might get $115,000. You know what I'm saying, bro? Or whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying? I'm just guessing. You know what I mean? So in reality, they will pay us more than $1.5 million. You know what I'm saying? In the long run. You know what I mean? And if something were to happen to us, God forbid, well, hey, you know, your son, your daughter, my aunt, my mama, and whoever get the money and shit, you know what I'm saying? They can keep my shit, you know what I mean? Like that. But I understand what you're saying. You got to dictate the terms of that. Marcel only telling y'all a way we could do it without these folks saying, oh, well, what about the inflation? You know, they give us the excuses. They don't give Ukraine and Africa and all these other people excuses, bro. They give it to us. So whatever which way we got to work around that shit to get a check right now, because Naggas is broke as fuck. Let's keep us logical. You just said about your school loans, the shit breaking you, bro. This business keeping it open and not have any income coming in is breaking me, bro. You know what I'm saying? Not making any type of sales at the moment because I got so much other shit is going on and I got product. I just don't got the time to go push this shit like I did over a decade. I need money to keep this business afloat, separate from a bank loan or a SBA type loan. I need my bread, bro. So whatever, which way you gonna give it to me? Bond, cash, land, whatever. Just give it to me at this point. At this point, bro.
Yeah, I hear that. I just, my thing is that if people want various forms, then those options should be presented to us. Say like you get for a hypothetical. We just do hypothetical. We know that it's not $1 million, but I'm just throwing it out there. So like you have $1 million, right? Saying that they're going to give cash payment to every Negro or whatever. The thing is, if the other Negroes want to put it in various different options, they should make those options available. If they wanted to make it in bonds or whatever, then they should make that and present it to them and present it in such. But long as it equates to the value that should be obtained because what was accrued disadvantage for our people. But what I'm getting at is that I might not want to take the bonds. I might just take the cash. But I still get what's owed. And that's all I'm asking. Is let us as individuals dictate the terms or how we want to present it. Not everybody get a generality type of thing, because I think we're gonna all get burned.
Right. So again, we have to dictate the terms of the bond, bro. You feel what I'm saying? So we're going off. Go in the chat right here. I ain't posting in the Jumbotron because I don't want to flood the shit. But get right here to chat. You can learn about bonds. From the U.S. Treasury, you can buy a bond straight up from these people, you know what I'm saying? Or use your tax return to purchase paper or electronic bonds. This is not new, you know what I'm saying? So if we were to use the bonds idea to obtain reparations, it wouldn't be a bad idea, bro. That's all I'm saying. And that's what I think Marcel's saying. because he said his team and I put this together. So it's not just on Marcel doing the work, you feel what I'm saying, or finding the information or putting a plan together to say, hey, look, boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? But let me shut up. Go ahead, bro. It was really when he was talking to you.
I mean, I was a part of the team. That's what I'm just saying. I honestly, again, and I keep just saying, reiterating that, no one is wrong here, and I definitely see my girl Mel in the building, and I'm gonna just say this, Mr. Engagement, we can have cash, and then we can have the rest of it set up in an automatic trust, which bonds are actually held in a trust, and it's passed down to whomever the beneficiaries are that are in that trust. And so again, it's an open door to have a conversation about how people want things to get set up for themselves and their lineage. And there's more that goes into it just to think this is how it should go. So I'm just saying, just keep an open mind as information is doled out and rolled out. And there's more than one way to skin a cat.
All right. Thank you, Rella. Let me go.
Hey, can I say this just one thing just to close this out before we get the mail?
Yeah, go ahead, because I want to get the mail real quick.
Yeah, if you flipped it, I'll be quick. Say for instance you flipped it, we just got off the politics of it. Say your reparations was like a sports contract and shit. Guaranteed money, bro. That, like Lamar Jackson, he just signed that damn $300 million contract with the Ravens for 5 years, just him and his mother. They ain't need no agent or nothing, but they just did it on their own. You feel what I'm saying? But as long as we got this influx of fighting, we gonna be here forever talking about this shit. But say for instance, reparations was like a contract and shit. So you would get money for free without even having to go practice on the field. So when the following year come, you would still get that same amount of money, if not more, if it was in a bond form. But if it was in cash, you wouldn't see no interest on that shit. So the bond idea is really a smart idea and shit, you know what I mean? We just need to dictate the terms of how that bond will be played out. So again, back to the sports analogy, a lot of these sports players, they're really talented. Like they was just talking about what's the dude name? I hate Boston. Fuck Boston. No, excuse me, French. You know what I mean? Knicks all day, but they in the playoffs. Whatever. I need the Heat to win. You know what I'm saying? So they can get them out of the paint. You know what I mean? So what's the dude name? Tatum.
Jason Tatum. Yeah.
Yeah. So they was just talking about what he makes, the contract he just got. He promised his mother that I'm only going to live off my endorsements. You feel what I'm saying? So he got like $100 million just from the NBA sitting just sitting there, bro. He ain't never got to touch that shit. And so his $100 million will be our bonds in that example, because you getting your money how you getting your money already. You already making money in America, whether it be through a job or business. So you could, it's not like when you get reparations, you ain't going to work tomorrow. Some people ain't, but I got to get up and go punch the clock still, at my own shop. I got to make the beat, do the recording. I got to press the CD. I got to bag it up. I got to go out and sell it, bro. This shit ain't going to stop, bro. I'm trying to take over this music industry. You know what I'm saying? And I need my money to do it. So if I got to go get a bond to go get some doper equipment, that's what the fuck is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead, though.
All right. Real quick. I'm gonna come back to you, Mr. Engagement. Let me get to Mel, and then I'll get back to you real quick. Go ahead, Mel. How you doing tonight?
Thank you. I'm doing fine. How are you? Shout out to everybody in the room. I missed. How you doing? Doing good, baby. I missed the space where the bonds conversation, I guess, was had. But I just wonder, like, if if we were to move forward with bonds, is there any type of legislation that can be put into place? Just say, for example, where they say, well, if you get incarcerated for a felony or misdemeanor or something like that, you automatically will forfeit the payments coming to the bond. Or when we look at, seems like every election year they're talking about cutting Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, all this and that. Is how would these bonds be protected from the government coming in and pretty much reneging on the deal? And then I also wonder if the conversation about the bonds is, is it more of a distraction to keep us, to kind of get us off demanding cash? And then it's like, if we, most people were saying, well, if Black people get all this money, they don't know what to do with it. To me, it sounds like, and again, I ain't hip to the bond situation, but to me, it sounds like that's just another way of controlling how we get our money. And so now it has to be passed through somebody else's hands who's going to make a profit, off of a handling fee. So I don't know if anybody can address those concerns, or, maybe I'm off the ballpark on it, but that's what I'm wondering. Thanks.
Hey, Tyler, just real quick. I know you always press for time. Can I?
No, you good. Go ahead. You got it.
I was just going to suggest, because the context of the room, like Mel said, I don't know what's going on with the bond situation. Who said what? Can I play the first 5, maybe to 10 minutes? Because it's really about 7 to 10 minutes.
Who you talking about? The space what
Yeah, well, no, it's really the Fox News interview he did.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Compartmentalized, I guess that's the word, was put together and strung together. And then Marcel actually spoke about that. No, I had to call Fox News back. No, take this out, make it like this. I didn't say it like that. It's really this. So it's like, it's the context of the room and shit. So let's listen to that 2 second style. Hold on. Let's get over here. Let's get off of that. Hold on, man. Yes, we on Newstoter YouTube. Newstoter YouTube. Everybody come up, bring your tails over there and subscribe to the Newstoter YouTube right now. We want to hear the numbers go up by the time the space is over. All right, let's go.
Brother, the more money, much of it has justice for me. Because whatever America does to me, and they're allowed to do, I'm a patriot. That means justice for you should be just as important to me as justice for me. Because whatever America does to me, and they're allowed to get away with it, they'll be coming for you. My name is Gregg Marcel Dixon. I am a teacher by profession. I'm a low country native here in South Carolina. My family's been in the low country of South Carolina, down in the coast in the southern part of the state, since at least the mid-1700s. And I'm currently running for Congress. I'm running to represent South Carolina District 6 in the U.S. House of Representatives. I've always had an interest in my family's genealogy, so I was fortunate. When I was born, all of my great-grandparents, except one, were alive. And I even had 2 great-grandparents who were alive. And my father was raised by his great-grandparents who were born in the 1890s. And one died in the late 1970s, one died in the early 1980s. They were born 1896, 1895, respectively. So I was one generation for literally the children of those who were enslaved, or they were raised by people who were enslaved because their parents died. The video I posted on Twitter, I talked about my great-grandparents, my dad's dad.
I got a hot mic.
Justine Washington Brown, the children.
Somebody got a hot mic up here. Hey, Professor.
Those who were enslaved, or they were raised by people who were enslaved because their parents died. The video I posted on Twitter, I talked about my great-grandmother.
Hey, Professor, I think your mic on, bro. Professor, you there? All right. There you go. I know I ain't tripping. Somebody got an open mic. Going once, going twice. We got the open mic. All right.
One died in the late 1970s, one died in the early 1980s. They were born 1896, 1895, respectively. So I was born within reach of people who were literally the children of those who were enslaved, or they were raised by people who were enslaved because their parents died. And in the video I posted on Twitter, I talked about my great-grandmother, my dear Nana, Justine Washington Brown, who pretty much helped raise me along with my mother. She died at 101 when I was 31 years old. I knew she was raised by her grandparents, but I never thought much of it. Until one day I was looking through the census records and I found that her grandfather, who would be my
great-grandfather was born in Beaufort in 1838. And by all measures, he was definitely born enslaved because he's there on the Freedmen records, Freedmen Bureau records. Same thing on my great-grandfather who just turned 99 on Tuesday. He grew up surrounded by people who were formerly enslaved. He is still alive. So I literally Skyped him the other day. I spoke with a man who was surrounded by people who were formerly enslaved by the United States of America, and he is still very much alive and well. The Freedmen's Bureau was an agency of the government that was established to help provide for the needs of those who were formerly enslaved and their children. But the Freedmen's Bureau was supposed to help Black Americans gain equity in the labor force, home ownership, land ownership. It was supposed to make sure that we were repaired, that the country repaired the damage they did to us. That never happened. There's a push right now for Joe Biden. I want to be nice, I call him slow Joe Pro Biden, but Joe Biden, there's a push for him to bring back the Freedmen's Bureau, which he can do via executive order. Now, Donald Trump was going to do a Department of African American Affairs. Not quite the Freedmen's Bureau, but it would have been that same day. Joe Biden said to Black Americans, y'all always had my back, which is we're fools for doing that, and he would have ours. He can, with executive order, bring back the Freedmen's Bureau, and he has not done it. That bureau has an unfinished job of repairing the great inequities that we see here in America, where Black Americans have been in this country longer than nearly all other ethnic groups, and yet we're to the bottom in terms of land and wealth. And that's because the job of Reconstruction never finished. Donald Trump had plans where he was going to invest at least $500 billion into the Black American community. He was going to start the Department of African American Affairs to focus specifically on our needs. He was talking about the damage that illegal immigration causes to Black Americans. There was some good stuff in the plan, even though it was still woefully insufficient. It's more, way more than what we're getting now and what any other presidential candidate has offered. And as far as why Joe Biden has yet to do anything similar, it's because he doesn't have to. Unfortunately, Black Americans, we are a captured electorate, and that is our fault. Reparations is about a debt that is due. It is not to fight against racism. It is not to punish white people. It is not race-based. Reparations is lineage status-based. So pretty much anyone who is identifying as Black, and they are a descendant of an American enslaved or a person who was emancipated by the U.S. government, a freedman, they qualify for reparations. So if you are a Black person and your parents arrived here from Jamaica in the 1970s and you have no lineage tracing back to American slavery, you don't get reparations. Being Black is not enough. If you are a white person and you've been identifying as white your entire life, but you may have an enslaved ancestors, because in the South, especially in states like South Carolina, a lot of white people do, you still do not qualify for reparations. It is for those who identify as Black and they are a descendant of those who were enslaved and then later emancipated by the American government. It's very easy to do because most Black Americans know our lineage very well. My plan calls for recipients to get $2.8 million in cash bond, and instead of the government just giving them a check for $3 million, $50 million would be insane, they pay them interest yearly until the full amount is paid. So that way, you don't have super inflation that would definitely happen if you gave 50 million people almost $3 million all at once. It will be paid monthly per interest on the cash bond. The reparations ultimately is something that comes from the federal government. And why? Because the state level, I can't speak for California, but a lot of states simply don't have the tax revenue to pay what is owed. The federal government does. And studies have shown Black Americans actually save more, even though we have the lowest amount of wealth. Black Americans actually save more than any other ethnic group. When the stimulus checks were given out, by the way, $1,000, $1,200, that is evaporates, especially for parents. But when the stimulus checks were given out, study after study showed that Black Americans started more businesses than any other group. Black Americans, we are the ethnic group that came out of slavery and built Black Wall Streets. We had no protection from the government. We were being denied our rights, and we was able to build Black Wall Street. So giving Black Americans reparations will bolster the economy. We're not immigrants. Every penny we get is going to go right back into this nation. Another nation, for example, sends at least 50 to 20% of their wealth overseas. It will go right back into the economy. It's a win-win for everyone.
All right. So
All right.
Marcel's Fox News interview right there. And so that's one part of it. I was going to play the other part when we get to the hands, and DJ LP said he got an emergency. What's up, bro?
How y'all doing, family? I want to just drop this on you. I know y'all know I've been talking a long time. I'm just keep it to the point. I just got work in Chicago. This is where I'm from. Just to be honest, y'all know the last couple of days we've been talking about the situation. Now, look, what I'm about to tell y'all can take it, do whatever you want with it. And I don't really know how to take this, but just to kind of recap, y'all know the situation with the migrants coming in to South Shore. That's my neighborhood. It's a traditional black neighborhood in Chicago, no different than Compton. Compton's not in LA, but not like a Harlem. This is a traditional all-black neighborhood. Traditionally liberal. It's gangs in the area, traditionally, just like anybody else. It's no different than like an Inglewood or different areas in Chicago. Well, what I'm hearing is it's a secret meeting between some of the biggest gangsters in the city, and kind of their line and their position is going to be that if it gets to the point where the immigrants come in and it's weird, then it's just basically gonna be a truce. But for the first time, a united front, and they're gonna stick them shorties. So this is a crazy situation. They willing to even do the press conference about it. I just got off the phone, and from what I'm hearing, you know, I heard the conversation over the phone, and I heard one of the brothers saying, "This been black, this gonna stay black. You're not fucking playing." Like, I don't know whether to be happy about this shit or like, whoa, what the fuck, like, you know. And they not coming off these communities, and they plan on being aggressive about it. And I think that's going to be everywhere. It's just that's kind of the emergency message. Is the street dudes that's the real movers and shakers in the city is kind of trucing it out and about to unite against this shit. You know, on a street level. On a street level. This is like for like some of the most dangerous niggas in Chicago that's really about their life. They all together having a meeting, and I'm kind of hearing it. And when I'm hearing, he's like, man, even one of the dudes was like, man, I've been here since '59, man. We like my shorties and grandson. Now it's funny, we'll do everything to kill our brother, but for the first time, everybody want to unite against the Mexicans. They be like, man, they asked, man, I ain't gonna lie, the shit I just heard them say about the Mexicans. If that shit was on Fox News, they would have thought that was the goddamn Ku Klux Klan. So I'm not pro-Mexican. I'm just saying that shit was crazy, man. Them wetbacks, we gonna kill them motherfuckers. This is black. This is gonna stay black. We ain't selling shit. It sound crazy, bro. It sounded so crazy that I had to, you know, I'm like, man, this shit, and really I want to bring one of the brothers to comment, but this is unprecedented, bro. And I forecast the same thing happening in LA as well as New York very soon. So that was the emergency message. If anybody want any questions about it, cool. If not, I yield. But man, this is gonna be a serious situation, because if they go through with putting them dudes to South Shore and they try to run to Inglewood, that's what's gonna happen. And that's why I believe the companies start packing the fuck up from that area. Walmart moved out that area abruptly. 5 days know the same thing with Whole Foods. So this is a local situation that has national implications. I yield.
All right, appreciate that, brother. Definitely just keep us posted on that situation, what's going down as well, too. You know, go ahead and DM us on the back channel and let us know exactly what's popping off on that, so we can go ahead and cover that even more and whatnot. So definitely appreciate that one. Definitely thank you for the heads up on that. Definitely didn't know about that as well. So appreciate that, bruh. We definitely appreciate that. me go ahead. I know we got some hands up. Damn, Chicago might be popping off in Chicago, y'all.
Hey, yeah, we spoke about that last night, real heavy, DJ LB. So you already know what it is. That's why we need to contact the boots on the ground with the grassroots. You know, folks like that brother Tyrone Muhammad. So tell them to come over here in these spaces, man. Go find our people. Tell them to come up here. Or we got to go over there. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you guys, for sure, because this is just unprecedented. Like even that press conference yesterday, it's all over the city. Because a lot of people didn't realize, oh damn, all Mexicans is making this fucking decision. So
yeah. And, you know, we spent the whole night talking about that last night. And damn, look what happened in a matter of hours. Damn.
I'm telling you, all the top dudes. I had somebody sneak, which is really kind of weird. He called me like, man, you hit it. And I'm listening, and I'm hearing I'm hearing the rhetoric. And they plan on forcing the kids over there. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, it's now wondering, are the police going to protect these people? Because that could be a situation in itself. So I know I don't want to take up too much time in the room. Y'all want to talk about that further? I'll try to get some more intel later, and we'll go from there.
All right. Appreciate it.
Hey, DJ, you might, if you can, man, hold another space on that one. That's a big deal.
Oh yeah, people telling me shut the fuck up. I'm gonna shut up, but they don't know. But shit, it's definitely we need to let each other know what the hell going on. See, that's the problem.
That's why I just said we just got done talking about this. What, 12 hours in the damn space last night? Late night shit. Let's go, man. We was just talking about this last night.
Yeah, we did. You're right, we did. And it's like old shit.
Because every day it's getting worse because they basically saying the migrants is coming. What you gonna do? And that's why I was telling y'all when the Republicans came, this dude just paid for Jordan Neely, and then all of a sudden he in one of the most blackest community.
We talking about Vivek Ramaswamy, aka
Yeah, that shit was crazy. Like you just paid for it to kill the black.
And yo, why the barber? Yeah, yo, bro. I know you hear this other black man talking to this coward that's sitting in your chair. Stop cutting his hair, bro. But I know you gotta get your money. I'll give you 50 for the cut. Damn, just let it slide. You know what I'm saying? Get him up out of here, yo. This ain't for us.
See, niggas don't even know who he is. See, that's the thing. Like, if the black community really just knew who this dude was, I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying. This shit is it's a weird situation. I'm gonna be honest, bro. Everybody acting like soldiers on here, but in real life, they front they shit. This is unprecedented. I never seen the names that I heard in that fucking room having a conversation outside of that. And that's a real thing. Basically, it's a real crazy thing because dude not even answering the phone for their ass. Brandon Johnson. So y'all finna see. Look, man, this is unprecedented, bro. The conversation I just heard.
I'm just surprised that Brandon can walk around the way he can walk around right now. I mean, I'm gonna leave it like that.
Hey, but real quick, because I don't want to get too far for the topic, but DJ, go ahead and definitely go ahead and DM us on the back channel just to let us keep us up to date with that. So, like you said, we may have to end up having some spaces on this as well. What's going on as well too.
Yeah, but I think it's trying to hit nationally. They just because Eric Adams noticed. That's why he cutting their water off. Like, man, you can't come to New York. This is gonna be battleground zero. Tell me.
Definitely appreciate that, bro. Let me go ahead real quick. I believe no taxation in black majority state. I know you had your hand up as well, Black. Sir Major, I see you up in here. I get to you as well. No taxation. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, News, and co-hosts and everybody in the room. Trust everybody as well. It's about motherfucking time. Sorry, I'm not gonna cuss no more. It's about time. But DJ, folks in Chicago, black folks in Chicago have always stuck together now. In the 60s, when everything was happening and everything was on fire, they were all together. Blackstone Rangers and everybody, they was all together. It wasn't no beef during that time. So it's possible. And the last time, it wasn't gang members, but it was organizations, men that head up organizations that work in the communities on the south and west side. They ran Pastor Darrell Scott out of there. Not during the Trump administration. He came in there and thought he was going to run things, and they sat him down. I heard it all. They sat him down and ran him on out of there and told him, "You don't know nothing about Chicago." And Chicago is that spot. That's what Chicago is. And Chicago takes care of Chicago. So, uh, you know, uh, let it fall the way it's supposed to fall. Um, this is what the government wants anyway. If you want to know truth about it, truth to tell, you can't see it. This is the government wants us to have mass uprisings in this country. That's why they're doing everything like they're doing it. So that's part of the plan. I can't talk about bonds and stuff like that because that's not my headspace. I will say this about Marcel. I haven't heard, and I have not read his plan, but I have not heard uh, everything Marcel has had, but what I has said, but what I have heard from Marcel, I have agreed with. Marcel is pushing the envelope, and something that he said last night, or whenever he did the space, I think it was last night, and I was in that space listening to him, is that he doesn't pretend to know everything, and that he's open to suggestion, and he's open to people, coming to the table with him and those kinds of things, and so I respect him for that because that means his door is not closed and he's not out for self, and this is what we need right now in this country. We got enough of us out here that want to be the one that's being seen, the one that all up in the videos, dancing all up in the videos, uh, like Dre, like Suge said about Diddy years ago. We have enough of that, and that's a real problem of you all's generation. You've got to understand that, see that, and fix that. Because if you don't, you will be doomed for disaster because they'll get to the table before you will. And that's what you don't want. And the reason I can't talk about bonds and how I say, ask for it all and ask for it to be delivered promptly. So whatever that entails, all of it. We want all of it. Um, Unlike DJ, the bonds, the money, the land. Shoot, you might as well throw in some vehicles and a yacht for me at this point.
I take a GLC.
Lambo truck me.
Yeah, I want all of that. I want the Lambo truck and everything. You understand what I'm saying? And no taxes. Um, uh, uh, you know, I also want to say something that Newstoter said something that was extremely important, and that those of us that have been on Twitter consider ourselves Black Twitter and on here for more than 10 years, we have long been saying, leave that Democratic plantation. It means you no good. There's nothing you can do with that. There's nothing you can do with that. And they got some new knackers now. Y'all don't see them? So they're going to come through as if they don't need you anymore. They've been doing that since the Obama administration. And they haven't needed you since the Obama administration. White folks put Obama in office, not black folks. And so we got to get that. We got to understand they mean us no good right now. They don't care nothing about what happens to us. In fact, they think that we're better off dead. And that's why you see them people, these vigilantes all out in the streets. But what Newstoter said is what's true. If we don't get a movement of people out of the Democratic plantation, at least 30%, Even if you all just got 3,000 to 5,000 people to get out of here, that would open up their eyes and say, whoa, let me see what's going on here. And not leave and go to another party. Leave and go independent. Let the people talk about, I can't be independent because I can't vote in the primary. The only reason you worried about the primary, I don't know why black folks worried about the primary, because primary just means who collected the most money. That's all it means. It doesn't mean any more than that. See, who got the most money is the front runner. That's who they're picking. Who brought in the most money for the party? That's all it's about. It's not about anything else. So if you don't vote in the primary, it's not going to make a difference anyway because they're choosing it, not you. And then that's where the independent vote comes in. And that's when you get to the table and start negotiating. Forget the primary, because whoever you want to get in office ain't going to be up there no way, especially if they don't have any money. See? And that's the way the game goes. DJ, stay low. Hold your head down. You know what to do. And I'm going to leave it at that.
All right. Thank you. No taxation. Thank you. Thank you guys. Like I say, we only got one person to go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel tonight. So let's see if we can get somebody else up there. It's in the Jumbotron. It's the second on the right-hand side. So let's see if we can go ahead and get at least 2 more people to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go ahead and click it. It's up in the Jumbotron. The second on the right-hand side, go ahead and click the link. Takes you straight to the actual YouTube channel. You can subscribe while the Twitter space is going on. Black Majority State, you had your hand up. Did you want to say something? Or are you cool? I don't know if Black, I know he be at work, so I don't know if he's
Hey, Newstoter. Yeah, so I'll save the comments that I have for DL or DJL for that DJ space later. But shout out to Marcel. I was in that space yesterday. I heard him explaining it, and shout out to DJ for bringing up the interest bond. So, and the Miss Rella who said, there's multiple ways, and that's really what it's got to be. We can't really be boxed into one method or one plan or one way, because the way that this degenerate system operates, they're always going to figure out ways to derail one plan, one strategy, one voice, one movement. You put yourself into a box politically when you do that. By having, and this is what I said before in past spaces, this decentralized approach where you have all these different factions doing different things, essentially all working towards a common goal, really makes it difficult for them in some ways. I mean, these people, they're known for tearing down regimes all over the planet at multiple times, and they do that consistently 365 days a year. So, but it does give us at least a sense of the fact that we are doing things that's uncompartmentalized, and they can't just derail everything all at once because we have all our eggs in one basket. So, shout out to Marcel. Oh man, there was something I wanted to say. Oh, the reparations rally. So it has come to my attention. I haven't looked at the GoFundMe in. This is the last space that we did about it, but we have no money. There is no money for the rally. There is zero money for the rally except for what's in the GoFundMe campaign. And I think to Miss No Taxation's credit, she secured a DJ. He's got some equipment. He's got a mic. The people who want to speak still are going to come out and speak. And so for the Sunday part of it, which I did request my day off just this morning, in order to get that done, I think the amount is somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000. I'm not 100% sure. But we kind of, if we're going to do that part of it, which is at the mall, is the National Monument on the stage, everybody's wearing a similar T-shirt. If we're going to do that part, which visually does present the message that, ever since I've been online, and in fact, the thing that inspired me to write the book was this reparations movement 5 years ago. I never spent any significant time online prior to that. After I had that accident, I'm recovering, I got all this free time, I'm online all of a sudden, and this is the most important political movement of my lifetime. And 5 years later, we're right at the precipice of a pretty big statement visually, if nothing else. I'm sure it'll get some press coverage. I'm sure it'll be spread throughout social media. And so the budget went from, I believe, 150,000 down to roughly 5,000 just to be able to make this statement. So if people are really, truly interested in making this thing happen for the Sunday part of it, we just got to chip in, and we got to keep spreading the word, chip in quickly so that we can actually have that part of it. For all those who were planning to attend, and if they had any, if they made reservations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I just wanted to put that out there. I'm going to mention it in my Saturday space. And, hopefully we can get to the goal so that we can get the DJ to show up. He has his equipment. People get to speak, and we have that particular part of the reparations weekend, Juneteenth, Father's Day weekend, to at least post and talk about. And then I also want to mention this. So I have been tweeting Biden boycott, hashtag Biden boycott, hashtag Biden boycott, hashtag Biden boycott. I actually tweeted, I quote tweeted the president today, and I put a tweet underneath him with this flyer that is a Black American Biden boycott. It's very bold. It's very bold block letters. It's very clear. And, I feel like this is something that we need at this point in time to actually make it very clear to Black Americans who see this flyers, specifically the front of it. It's a very clear message. You just can't really argue with it or dispute it. It's very, very clear. It's very clean. And so I've been pushing it. Other people I've seen are starting to push it. And I would really, really like for anybody to see that particular flyer, to push it, to share it, to get it out there as much as you can for this election cycle specifically, so that this president understands that it's enough is enough. We're just tired of it. And I'll end with that.
All right. Thank you, Black. Appreciate that. Sir Major, go ahead and unmute your mic.
What up, though, man? What's happening?
What's going on?
Nothing much. Long time coming. I just wanted to touch on a few things. I put in a Jumbotron. What's up, DJ? I put in the Jumbotron what's happening out there in New York. There was a hotel staffer who came out and did an interview talking about how the hotel made him or the city of New York made him a site administrator for the immigrants lounging at the hotels. And he talked about how the immigrants are running amok in the hotel. They're drunk every night, booze everywhere. There's guns on property. There has been multiple fights. He says that there's 2 to 3 births a week. 2 to 3 births a week that happens at these hotels. Whole lot of sex, alcohol, children being left unattended. CPS has been called multiple times. And if you look at the second slide, you'll just see one example of one room looking beyond disgusting. Food everywhere, trash everywhere. You see the alcohol bottles. And so this is what our tax dollars are doing, is financing the way life and paying for people to get fucked in these hotels. They are quickly having these babies left and right so that they can have guaranteed status in America, producing anchor babies. Next, I want to move over to another topic. Many of you all, I'm sure, have heard about it. There was a phone call made to the FBI last week. I made that call against an individual who has submerged themselves in our movement. They were just in the space a few minutes ago. No one knows this person's real identity. No one knows his Black avatar of a Black liberator that we all value and love and adore. Dr. Khalid Muhammad. This individual made a direct threat, calling for the genocide and calling for a call to action to have, everyone knows T.S. Giselle, to have that person murdered. and incited that this person gets murdered, which then and perhaps causes many of us to be labeled as black identity extremists. Anyone knows about black identity extremists? That is a way to call black activists terrorists, and that's what the FBI has used. Many of us, including Juan, even back when Juan used to be in our spaces, we first called this person out for COINTELPRO. This person went by the name of FBAJ. Then they would start, they were pro FBA. Then they started down talking FBA and going against FBA and making a mockery of Tariq Nasheed. And then one day that they changed the name to Happy Black Nationalists. When you make your name Black Nationalist, you know what type of attention you get. And we know how the government deals with us with being labeling yourself as a Black nationalist. And then now the person is Black at it. So with all that said, you have to ask yourself, we're closer to getting reparations. You have to ask yourself, why now? Why now would this individual make a blatant death threat and call for the mass killings of transgender folks? And so that's Agent Oppie behavior. And I'm not caping for T.S. Giselle because that is also the individual who signed a petition to have us labeled as a hate organization. So be aware, folks. I've spoken and came on this platform before to talk about COINTELPRO and agent provocateur activity. We're close to getting reparations, and you've got to start watching out for Oppie behavior when folks for no reason, unexplainable, start making death threats towards another marginalized, protected group in America. You have to ask yourself, why now? And so I made the call. I did it publicly. I did it on the app. And the reason why I did it is because as an activist, no one wants to be labeled as a rat. However, if, let's say, Newstoter was to do a FOIA request and say, you know what, I want all government documents surrounding Sir Major and the FBI. If you pull, if you file an open records request and you see that I called the FBI on something April 23rd, 2023, you're going to be like, yo, why is he calling the feds? So I did it publicly so that it comes to no surprise. This person, I believe in my heart that this person is here to undermine the entire movement of reparations, and that the stuff that they're doing is going to jeopardize us. Say what you want about Sir Major. You know my work. Say what you want about me. You know I'm an activist. I'm verifiable. You can Google it. Even when white supremacists write negative stuff about me, the first thing they say is activist, vocal protester. So as white folks, even when they hate on me, they still call me what I am, and that's an activist. So my job as a black activist is to protect all black people, regardless of their race, gender, sexuality, sexual orientation, and or religion. So I'll end with that. Be aware, be vigilant, and disassociate yourself with anyone who has the ability to compromise this entire movement. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sir Major. Let me go ahead. Smooth. I see you up here as well too. So go ahead, Smooth, and unmute your mic. And we're gonna be closing the space out shortly, guys. So for those that want to donate, once again, if you got $1 you want to donate on Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Smooth, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Oh yeah, Newstoter, what's happening? DJ, what's happening?
What's up, Smooth?
Chilling, man. Making it through the day. Yeah, I see the Marcel Fox 2 News things, but for me listening to him and saying, that he do want to give our people tangibles, like I have been rocking with him. You know what I mean? And I barely be in the spaces like that, so I don't know on as far as some of the Twitter beefs, like problems they got with Marcel and stuff like that, because I'm on and off. I might get on for a second, then I'll be off for a minute. But from what I hear, it's solid. And I was gonna ask, was anything said off code or anything? But before I go to that, I want to say that Detroit is down prime. It started off at number 1 to number 2, number 3, now we at number 6 now. I don't even see Chicago on the board, so that's just a talking point at this point. And if you hear somebody saying it's just a white supremacist, bad faith talking point. But yeah, if y'all heard anything off code, let me know, man. I'll let you know what's going on. But I will express that, man. It's gonna be a lot of things y'all don't like about people running, but if they talking about giving our people tangibles and stuff like that, here on my heart, you got a better plan. I think y'all should run too. You know what I mean? If you can, if you able to run for office, because we do need that. You know, and we need people backing people that's trying to help us. You know, put money behind us. So that's just about it, man. You know.
All right, Smooth. It's been a little minute, but thank you, brother. Let me give a shout out to my girl as always, Rerod. Thank you for your contribution on Cash App, sister. Let me go ahead and kick it to no taxation. And anybody else that wants to speak real quick before we get ready to close the space out, y'all come on up here and get it in real quick while you can. So no taxation, you got it. Go ahead and unmute your mic. And oh yeah, real quick, guys, we will be back. Gonna enjoy the Memorial Day holiday. So we'll be back probably Monday. That's probably when we'll be back. So everybody, y'all make sure y'all be safe out there. Y'all enjoy the Memorial Day weekend as well, too. And we will definitely be back Monday. We're gonna be spending some time with the family. So y'all go ahead and take care. Of course, I'll be tweeting stuff out from the actual platform, but I don't plan on being on Twitter too much at all. So it'll just be tweeting stuff out from the actual site as well. So everybody, y'all definitely take care. But go ahead, no taxation.
I want to address something that Black said, but first I want to say, Smooth, I did hear him say exactly what you said. He did talk about tangibles, and he did talk about people running for office other than him, and getting more people in the movement. So as far as I was concerned, and I guess it's recorded, you could probably go back and hear it, I don't know. But as far as I was concerned, he didn't say anything wrong. And being on Fox News is a bridge, and I think that's what he sees politically, and it's definitely what I see politically. Because if we don't build bridges, we'll be able to cross the water, and that's just what that is. But I just want to go to what Black said. There are 8 people, and this is for everybody else in the room except for those 8, and those 8 people know who they are. There's only 8 people in this entire room that have been with me, that have fought with me, that have stayed with me, and that have worked with me on this reparations rally. Out of everybody in this room, and everybody knows about it. People are planning stuff around the rally, and they haven't even spoken to me to say, hello, how you doing? Do you need help? But it is what it is. I want to address what Black said, because it's very important for people to know. The reason it went from 150K to 5K is because I scrapped everything, every single thing. And I had to, because the government was giving me so much problem. I'm talking about from the DC government to the National Park Service, the National Park Service Police. Those are 2 separate entities, okay? The permit office from the National Park Service, that's 3 entities out of the same department. I also had the Capitol Hill Police and the Metro DC Police. Everybody gave me problems because they don't want us down there. The security alone was almost 59K. The audio was going to be 20K because I wanted to go all the way down to the Lincoln Memorial. I wanted everybody to hear. So yeah, it was going to cost a grip. We were going to have a Father's Day program. They said no bubbles. You can't give the kids bubbles, and you can't paint their face. Now, what's wrong with that? And then I had to give cold water to everybody who would be in attendance, including the tourists. See, what you all don't understand is I have a permit for the monument. It's not really for the Silver Theater. It's a permit for the monument. What I was trying to do has never been done, and they've never had a protest down there. They send you down to Freedom Plaza and make you stand on the concrete. I don't want that. I don't want it. I want to go where white folks say I can't go because I'm a tax-paying citizen. See, that's who I am, and I've always been that way. If I'm paying for it, then why can't I be up there and do what the white folks do? I don't understand. So that's why it went from 150K to 5K. And truth to tell, I might have to cut that down. I was only putting 5K in because I wanted Marcel to come and speak. He was going to be the keynote. And I can't pay for him to come and put him up in a hotel and feed him on $0. And I'm not doing it out of my own pocket. And the reason why I'm not going to do out of my own pocket, because I'm still Black in America like everybody else. So don't put a discount on me. And that's just the way I feel about it. Black knows, he'll tell you how I feel. There's 8 people in this room that know how actually 9. Did Mel leave? No. Mel was instrumental in helping me as well. So there very few people have come around and helped me to do things. And I'm not doing nothing by myself. Because if you all are that apathetic about going down there and shaking your fingers in white folks' faces, if you're scared, if you don't know how to do it, if you just feel like you can't do it, and I don't want to donate because I don't know her, well then too bad and so sad. Sit at home and be broke. Because that's what you're going to do. While you around here looking for bonds and all these different kind of bonds and how you going to get paid, your asses ain't even at the table. You got to get to the table first. Cut a deal first. You're coming in there with all that pre-information and you're not even where you're supposed to be. That's why I wanted to go to the monument. That's why I want to be on Capitol Hill, to make them put us at the table. That's all it's about. It ain't about me. It's about y'all. My generation is past. And if you all don't get some fire inside of you, like the gangs in Chicago, listen, I'm with them. Whatever they need to do to protect their neighborhoods and do what they have to do and keep that money in their hands, then they need to do it. And you all need to start thinking like them. Get you some street sense and do what you got to do instead of sitting around thinking that somebody else is going to do something, because everybody is tired. I know 8 and a half, 9 of us is tired. I don't know if Mel is tired, but I know 8 of us is tired. And if she's tired, that makes 9. And those are 9 people who were out in the field working and sacrificing their time, their money, their energy. They put skin in the game. It's time for you all to put your hands on deck and put skin in the game. Otherwise, you're going to lose. This is a very small window of opportunity. Very, very small. You're squeaking through it. And if you don't do it now, you're going to have to wait 50 years. I cold damn guarantee. I'm telling you something. I KNOW, not something I heard. And I'm through preaching. That's it for me. I'm through news. Thank you for the spaces.
Thank you. Thank you, No Taxation.
Can I just do a plug real fast before we go?
Okay, because I know Sir Major got his hand up, so let him.
I just had a quick rebuttal.
Go ahead, Sir Major. And then Rella, you can go after him.
Yeah, just quickly, but I will say this, right, to the young people in the space and to the activists who've been putting in tireless work, shout outs to you all. I would say respectfully that this generation has done an amazing job at of putting the feet to the pedals and doing their due diligence and working and creating work session on top of the BS and the banter. We love those spaces as well. But this generation, at least my core team, we do a phenomenal job at the work, and I think there's some other groups that do work as well. So I don't want to create an atmosphere where it's this generation versus that generation, because we can always look back and say where our elders have felt us. But this generation here has done a phenomenal job, and I think we're a lot closer to reparations than we ever have been. But look at the amazing work we did over the last 3 years. Look what's happening in California and other cities. This has never been done. And so while I do agree with you that we do need to double down and tighten up and things of that nature, I don't want to beat up on young folks and activists who are doing the work every day out there.
You can't have 9 people out of 50 people working for the country. You can't do it. Otherwise, you'll end up like a National Action Network, where it'll be just your little bit of your little corner. See, what we're trying to do on this end with the rally is a national thing. It's great for California. I hope they get money. I hope everybody gets money. What about them folk down there in Mississippi? They shot that little 11-year-old boy the other day. What about him? Y'all gonna talk about him? Is he in it? Because, see, we fighting for the country of Black folks, not just state by state. So this is different. And this is not a generational versus generation. That's not what this is. Because if it was, I wouldn't be in it. So let's be real clear on who I am and where I'm coming from. Everybody in this room, I come in this space every single night when Newstoter has it. So people know me and they know what I stand for. And if this generation doesn't squeak through this window, if you don't get more hands on deck, and if you all don't show out, you won't get it. It's politics. It's business. It's never personal. Never. It's politics. It's business. And it's not personal. It's about Black economics and Black politics. Period.
All right.
Shout out to my cousin John Conyers, who brought reparations to the fore 30-something plus years ago. I think when you look at the work that he's done 30 plus years ago to my generation, the work that I do every day for reparations, we are a lot advanced. And I agree that we need to double down on it and tighten up. And it is politics. It is political. But I want folks to be encouraged as well.
With that being said, it's actually actionable. And you can't get anything done without action. So that sounds like there's an intersection there. Shout out to John Conyers for the work he did put in, Dr. Claude Anderson, and the entire panel that actually showed up to actually speak on reparations, and him putting those people together. And it's up to us now, as No Taxation is saying today, to move the needle. And the only way we move the needle like their ancestors did back then is that we actually take action. So I'm challenging 50 people tonight to donate $100. I will put up the first 100 of my own money. Mind you, I'm putting up money that I don't know if I'm going to get back and don't care, because it is going towards a good cause, and you have to be able to do that. I know some people don't. If you are connected with the entertainment community, I'm trying to call you out DJL, but we do need sponsors. It would be wonderful if there were sponsors that we can pitch. We do have a sponsor kit. If we can send to someone or a few people that we can get our sponsor kits to, that would be wonderful. But again, 50 people, actually 49, since I'm going to put up the first 100, 49 people to put up $100. We could actually cure the 5,000 that we need tonight. And then from there, we can work on anything else that we need. If anybody still wants to volunteer, you know how to reach Miss Trouble. You know how to reach No Taxation, and anyone else that's still involved. We need everybody. I mean, I didn't put up all this work for us to not have something on Juneteenth, Father's Day weekend, and everybody deserves to have a piece of action in place. So put your money where your mouth is, put your time where your mouth is, put your action where your mouth is, and really be encouraged. Facts.
Yo, check your DM, Rilla. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, brother.
That's cool. All right, Congre, did you want to say something before we close it out?
I ain't got it like Rilla, but I definitely can throw 20 right now via PayPal. That's why I told Sister Rilla to go ahead and check her DM.
I'm gonna jump in, told and say something here. Okay.
Hey, Cognitive, real quick. I sent you the GoFundMe for the reparations. But go ahead, Professor.
Okay. Here's the deal, everybody. What have we been talking about in these spaces for what? Over a year now, right? We've been talking about the fact that our wealth is going to be gone by what, 2053, I think is what they've been telling us.
Oh, now I'm hitting your money on this business. It's already gone.
Exactly. There it is. And see, DJ just mentioned it. What? How many times have you mentioned that tonight, DJ? That you already are in need of money, right? So I want you to understand, Black American family, a lot of folks would love to donate as much money as possible to all of these causes. But remember, we are at the bottom of the totem pole. So, with that being said, family, if you got 20, 30, 40, 10, whatever you have, donate to the cause. Unfortunately, Real is good. She got the 100. Great job, Real. If you got 100, throw it out there. I hate to say it, Black American family, we are seeing right now that our wealth is already at the bottom. It's not 2053, it's already at the bottom. So I want y'all to take into account, I know everybody's saying we need to put money on the causes. We all want to put money on the causes. We all want to throw money to help Newstoter build up his platform. We all want to put money towards DJ so he can do what he needs to do. Because everybody's trying to do something to build to help our Black American family, right? Look at what we also did for the brother out there in Colorado. Look at the money that we donated for that. See, we've been donating money. If y'all notice, y'all just go back. We've been donating money on everything. But the Black American family is not there with money to just throw out there like that. I hate to say it, but we just can't do it.
And if you don't have a national push, won't nobody get no money. I can co-guarantee you that. I can co-guarantee you that. Right now, the reparations movement and what's going on across the country is political fodder. That's what it is now. You all don't see it, but I see it because I deal with those people up there. It's political fodder. It's like a tennis ball. They're going to throw it back and forth and back and forth and let your heads go back and forth and back and forth. You have got to take a national stand. And when Darity came out with that research of 2053, I was promoting it 7 years ago on the Hill and telling them 7 years ago, we didn't factor in the immigrants. So now we can say it's 2023. Ain't that's the year we in? Because I'm going to tell you, that's what it looks like. You see, exactly. They coming up, just like you all said earlier, they coming up with money for everything but us. They trying to tell y'all something. Y'all got to answer back. And you have to answer back nationally. I'm not saying don't do your statewide projects. Do them. Everything counts. But if you don't have a national push, you're not on the Hill. You're not on Capitol Hill if you don't have a national push, which means you're not at the Department of Printing, which means you're not at the Treasury. Where the money is. Okay. You gotta understand the system. You have to break into the system nationwide. And if you don't do it, you just don't do it.
Sister, you're right. You got to have the national push.
Everybody to get their states together. But like I said, what about them poor Black folk down in Mississippi?
Sister, you're right. We got to have the national push. But I think where we at right now, we've been saying 2053, right? Black people are not going to have anything now in this country. You're right. We already at that point. Black people are already at that point where we are smoked out when it comes to the money. Because guess what they're doing? What you just said. They're giving all the money to the immigrants. They're not thinking anything about us. And we supposed to be the group right now that should be getting that $7,000 that they're giving up there to, where is that? In South Shore? Chicago. That's supposed to be Black Americans getting that money. But see, here we got immigrants coming into this country getting stuff that we supposed to be getting. See, this is where we are, y'all. I want to give money to all of these causes because we know our people need it. So here's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to try to give 20 here, 30 here, 40 here. I know it sounds bad, but but here's the thing. We're going to have to hit up, who we're going to have to hit up? The Black American entertainers, the celebrities. These are the folks you got to hit up, y'all, because they have the bank. Your Black American average Joe out here don't have the bank like that. So, with that being said, Black American family, let's keep our heads up. Let's try to donate where we can.
How much did they come up with?
I had a couple questions really quickly.
How much did they come up with for the farmer? of the farmer out there? How much money was raised for him? Do you remember, Professor?
I can't remember, sister, because I know it was like different people just getting money. Because I know on one side of it you had Marcel getting money for them, and then in other groups we had people building money to get security out there. So it was just people donating as much as they could. I can't remember the total amount.
It was over $5,000.
I think maybe so. You know what? It could have been more than that, because I know we was all up in these spaces saying, "Hey, look, man, y'all donate money to the gun club. They out here for this. Donate money to help them."
And you're going down to Dallas,
Yeah. I mean, it was money being thrown out there for them. But y'all, I'm telling you, this is where we are right now. They know that the Black American family don't have wealth.
And that's why we fight for
So I like to jump in really quick.
Professor, can I say something? Because we don't have money. That's why we fight for reparations, because we don't have money. That's why we fight, because we don't have any money.
So I like to ask a question, right? So I hear people talking about what should or shouldn't be happening. And as a longtime organizer and as a lobbyist, my question is to the floor or to the host. When you talk about having political leverage in America, it is not a rally that gets you that. It's not a protest that gets you that. Those are what we call direct actions that leads to creating awareness or captivating the moment for exposure for your cause, right? In order to affect change, and this is nothing. The rules don't change because we Black and we want reparations. If we want political reparations or a political status in America, it requires one or two things, and it's very simple. The rules, we don't get to reinvent the rules because we angry and we Black, or we mad because we ain't got what's owed to us. What you must do is get federal lobbyists, get people to lobby government at the federal level. That's how you get political change and political leverage.
Federal lobbyists cost money.
Hold
they cost money.
Ma'am,
I am a lobbyist registered. I'm not doing it for free. And I've never seen you on Capitol Hill. Ever.
I did not cut you off, ma'am.
Can I?
So no, I wasn't done. So we need. I was interrupted and I got cut off. So again, we need lobbyists at the federal level, and we also need PACs. So the question to the floor or to the co-host is, what PACs are out there specifically for reparations in the way that we want them? And then also, what Black lobbyists are out there at the federal level doing the work primarily on the federal level?
0-0. We said that already. Run the space back, bro.
Yeah, we don't have any out there. That's where the problem is at, y'all. And white folks know this, y'all. This is what and this is what I'm saying. They know this. This is why they doing the stuff that they're doing. They know that the Black American family don't have wealth.
Pan-Africans are on the Hill every day. Everybody from National Action.
Pan-Africans are not on the Hill.
Every single day. Every day. They're all
Pan-Africans are not on the Hill.
Because I run into them. Run into them. So they're there.
Hey, hold on, Super Sean. And matter of fact, everybody stop cutting everybody off and let people finish talking, because like I say, the space ain't finna go much longer. So when somebody's speaking, don't interrupt.
And if you want to talk, just go and put your hands up. Go ahead, Tax.
I'm telling you, as a working lobbyist since 1985, I can assure you that the Pan-Africans are miles ahead of us in this game. They have co-opted every piece of wording that you all have done, and they have used it for themselves. And anybody in Chicago, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., New York, in other parts of America, sometimes in L.A., but mostly on the East Coast, can tell you that. We are behind in this. And you're not going to get no lobbyists to come in there and help you all, and you don't pay them. If you want to get somebody, we can go to Corn Ferry. Go to the top. Go straight to the top. But we can't ask anybody from Corn Ferry to come and help us. You pay a lobbyist to do what you want them to do. They don't have to be reparationists. All they have to do is get paid and say, I can do this and I can do that. I can give you meetings here and there. I can open doors for you. That's what lobbyists do. They sit down because they have the relationships with people and they build the table. And that's what I do. And if you think a rally at the monument, at the national monument, is something to scoff at, you are sorely mistaken. That's why they called the DC government in. That's why they called every police department in on me. That's why. That's why they told me I had to put tarp all around the grass and give water to everybody, include the visitors, which could have been to the tune of 50,000 people. It ain't about y'all. It's about getting the word out on national television. That's what Marcel understands. That's why he did Fox News. Because you have to have it blazing in folks' faces like that. Because that's how you build bridges. And right now, we ain't got that many bridges. And anybody out in California is in this space listening to me, I'm going to give you a nugget. Congressman Swalwell just got out of all of his investigations. They said that he didn't do anything wrong. He's a reparationist. Go down there and talk to him. You got some keys. Use them if you in Cali. I don't know what good it will do anybody in New York, but it is what it is. I'm doing something nationally, not state by state, and I've never taken away anything from anybody state by state. If anything, I have given them props. So let's be real clear on that. But this is not a time for us to talk about state reparations. This is a time for us to talk about national reparations. Everybody's moving but us nationally. The Pan-Africans have taken what we had, what you all worked for, what I worked for free. And y'all know I got skin in the game and money in the game that's gone down the drain. Really, you won't lose nothing by putting the GoFundMe, because as it stands right now, it don't go to nobody's account. Not mine and not nobody else's. So it can be refunded very easily. I don't have a problem with it. But what I'm not going to do is break my neck and take myself out after over a year of working on this and come up with nothing and feel like I failed at something. I didn't fail, because nothing beats a failure but a try. I tell y'all that all the time. All you have to do is try. If you don't have nothing but $5 or $6 to give it. I do that with everybody all the time because I believe in the cause. And if you believe in reparations, and I'm not telling you to donate, because I have never come to y'all and asked y'all to donate for nothing, ever. I had sponsorship money that I had to give back. I had to give it back because they told me I couldn't have the video walls and sell it for advertising. That's how I was getting the money. I knew we didn't have it. They don't want us down there. Y'all don't understand. They don't want us down there. Ask yourself why. Ask yourself why. They don't mind you doing nothing on the state level, but you better not come into the National Park Service, which is run by white men, and say you want to do anything about black folks, especially on Capitol Hill, especially at the monument. Y'all go do some research on what the monument grounds used to be. Maybe you'll understand it then. I'm going to leave it there.
I can only speak to a little bit on this, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm forever trying to learn, and I appreciate the Miss Lady, you know what I'm saying, for contributing her truth. But what I will say is, flat out, you know, we know Pan-Africanism is a detriment to the non-immigrant Black American community. We know that. But also, we're not going to get anything accomplished if we can't at least galvanize 20 to 30% of the Black community to run
a specific cause. We have to all be marching towards a specific cause in order to get any real attention to it. And once real attention is set, that's how you get the changes that's needed. And I would definitely say it has to be the majority of the population that's pushing for that event. It would definitely have to be non-immigrant Black Americans. Nobody has been fighting for us. We know that. We know throughout history, our backs have been against the wall, and we've been fighting tooth and nail. You know what I'm saying? Even on up into modern day, where we're fighting against every fucking front. The Latino community, the immigrant Black community, as well as the immigrant and supposed non-immigrant whites and the supposed Native Americans. We fighting against all the motherfuckers. So all of them want to see us just disappear. That's why they got the rules set up for integration. I mean, not integration, but immigration that they have set up, and so on and so forth. So I'm just bringing that shit up to say, if individuals in this group are like-minded, why is anybody being hostile towards anybody instead of just opening their ears and listening to what they say, and everybody come together as a collective and pick through what may work and what may not work, and the shit that may work, you know what I'm saying? We figure out ways of stitching all that shit together, and then build a platform for ourselves. That's my question behind it. We need our own platform. We don't need nobody. We don't need no outside influence on it. We just need our own shit. We need our own politicians that we're gonna run. We need our own political ideology, and we need our own rules of engagement. And once we have all that shit laced the fuck up, that's when we'll be able to move forward. And Sir Major has heard me say this a couple of times, and a couple of other people might have heard me say it too. But personally, that's what I think will help us move forward. And I'll land with that.
Go back. Damn,
All right. Let me just say, no taxation. Like I say, if those that can donate, please go ahead. You can donate anonymously. I've done that a couple times. So if you guys want to donate anonymously, please go ahead. If you don't want your name on there, you can go ahead and do that. Any amount helps. So definitely, we've had couple spaces where we're able to get people to donate, but definitely not to the amount that we wanted to. So for those that can donate, please, we appreciate it. For those that can't, we understand that as well too. But definitely for those that can donate, please go ahead. And it's coming up, so we'll probably be doing another reparations space definitely in June before the actual rally takes place, and we'll try to go ahead and raise some funds just before then as well too. So like I say, once again, for those that can, please go ahead and think about seriously trying to donate. We're going to go ahead and get ready to close this thing out. Wilson, I'm going to go ahead and let you go real quick, and then we're going to close the space out for the night.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I had to leave the room for a while, and then I'm back, but getting the gist of the room, some things that I heard before I had to leave that I wanted to say quickly, and where I stand with a couple of things right now as what I'm hearing. Number one, we've always talked about the fact that as Black people in this country, we are, collectively, our dollars is equivalent. It's been written equivalent to the 8th largest economy in the world. Having said that, there is some recent news with regards to, if we want to take a look at recent activities of where people have withheld their money and has affected change. We have seen Bud Light, and we've also now the news is that Target actually has reported that they have experienced some quarterly losses due to their stand with LGBTQ and all that other stuff. Having said all of that, what we need to understand is, we too should be doing exactly what these people have done in response to brands that stand by certain things that they don't like. And at the same time, being smart with our money, and I say this, and I don't want to offend anybody, but if you are a part of a church, for example, and we all know that a lot of these black churches are jive when it comes to money. They are not taking that money that people tithe, their hard-earned money, and doing the right things that will advance their congregation personally. Then take that money back and put it towards donating for a bigger picture for your future in this country. If you can only, Barack Obama's campaign was actually a campaign that was studied in MBA schools, because it was the first time that you really saw grassroots get together and donate sometimes just $1, but consistently. And with everything in life, when you're consistent, if you want to lose weight, if you're consistently eating good and exercising, you will lose it. People will consistently, if you can only do $1 or $5 a week consistently, it makes a difference. It really does make a difference. You don't have to do the big dollars. You don't have to do all that. I get that. But if it's just $2, if it's just $3 a week, collectively, that makes a big difference. I will tell you this. I am 10 toes down for reparations for Black American people. It is a restorative justice claim against this U.S. government. Every single thing they do, every single thing when we talk about trauma legacy, man, these white people, they suffer from trauma legacies because they resent, they hate the fact that Black people are free. We were not supposed to be free. We were still supposed to be on their plantations to this day. This was never supposed to happen. And so I just want to say that we can do it, but we have to be consistent. And we have to stop this nonsense. It drives me crazy with this. Who's FBA? Who's fighting? That was when I was leaving. It was just disturbing to me. I think Newstoter was saying that, at some point, we really do have to get over who refers to themselves as U.S. Negro freedmen, who calls themselves FBA, who is non-FBA ally. Can we trust the ally? That's another thing. Lord have mercy. If you all knew what I had to go through with people 2 years ago, threatening my life, and I'm not exaggerating, threatening my livelihood, threatening my family. I had to get people in place to watch me because it was real, because they can't imagine that somebody like me who's 10 toes down is an ally. It doesn't even fit their picture of what it's like. They don't believe it. I went through hell, and I'm not lying to you. I wouldn't even tell you, but that's when I had to carry a gun, not for the white folks. It was for my people that look like me that was threatening my life because I'm 10 toes down for their reparations. Can you fucking imagine? Can you fucking imagine? And I'm being real. My family. When I went to go march for reparations in D.C., I had to hire somebody to protect me. I'm not lying. I'm marching for Black American reparations, and Black Americans was trying to slice my goddamn neck. Ain't that some shit? But that never deterred me. It never did, because I live in my truth. That's the difference. When you live in your truth, when you live through your heart, all that means nothing. And guess what? For some of them, they've had FBI on the ass. Since then, they've had a whole lot of shit happen to them. Me, man, I am golden. And I'm among the people that I love and respect and admire and always look forward to hearing from and want to be around and all that, want to learn with, all of that. I move in spaces and I garner the respect. I was born in New York City. I was born among Black American people. I was raised in the Bronx. I was raised in Newark, New Jersey, Brick City.
You want reparations? That's for Africans.
I don't know whoever said that. I don't know what that meant. But at the end of the day,
Hey, that was a troll. That was a troll up here because I had just allowed this fool to come up here. So yeah.
Well, I just want to say, we got to get it together, man. We don't have time for all this because they're coming for us. We don't have time for all this nonsense, and we've got to get it together. We have got to get it together. And we've got to do what we should have done 30 years ago in one fucking year. We don't have time for all this nonsense. When I look and I see my people not getting the kind of education they deserve, when I look and see not getting the quality foods to ingest, when I read things like the Black Tax Code and From Here to Equality, Deacons for Defense, they were her property. The color of law, that shit fucked me up. The color of law, and then had to speak in September of 2021 at the California Reparations Task Force about the egregious manners in which this country has held Black American people back from owning homes and getting the GI Bill for education. Come on, guys, let's get it together. I never gave up. I could have turned around and said, fuck it. I'm just going to be quiet, and because the people are coming after me. I was in shock because I ain't used to that. I ain't used to my people threatening my life. I wasn't used to it. I had to hire somebody. I wasn't used to it because they knew I was coming to the reparations in D.C. That's some real talk. I got a gun because my people were threatening me, not for white folks. My mother, my brother, my sister, my niece, and nephew. Oh, I was going to kill somebody for them. I was going to go to jail and didn't give a fuck. Come on, guys, let's get it together. I'm here. We got to donate this money and be consistent. And I land with that.
All right. Thank you, Wilson. No taxation. When you get a chance, check your DM as well too. DJ, Professor, I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys close something out. Say something before I go ahead and close this space out for the night. So you can go ahead, Professor. You got it. Or DJ, it doesn't matter.
Go ahead, Professor. You want to say something real quick?
Oh, I was saying you could go ahead.
No, I'll just say, we agree to agree for the most part. Next space, I guess.
Hey, y'all, we're going to take this energy over to the next space. I want all of you that have spoken in this space, come over if you can. We're going to talk about some things. But I'm going to stick to what I said. We got to understand that people are trying to donate where they can. And I'm telling you, family, that's all we can do at this point because they know where we are right now in this country. 86% of the wealth belongs to white people. We are at the bottom. So donate if you can. But what I'm saying is, y'all, please don't try to pressure people. And I'm not saying anybody is, but, when you bring it up like somehow some of the stuff being bought up in this space, it almost feels like people are pressuring people to donate. We don't want to do that because we know that a lot of people right now are at the bottom of the totem pole and they're suffering and they're trying their best to make it out here. So just try to say it in a way where you say, hey, look, if you can donate 10, donate 20, you can donate 30, you know, but let's kind of, I don't know, I'm trying to think of the best way to put this, y'all. Let's kind of tone it down off this whole money thing. But we know black people are not sitting on no great cuckoos of money, okay? Now, if you want to hit up some of these entertainers, let's do that. Let's come up with a plan to hit up these entertainers. That's where the money's at. And that's where we're going to have to go, y'all. We're going to have to go to our black entertainers for money.
Let me just say that I did do that, Professor, and I didn't get anything. So I just want to put that out there. It's a lot of stuff that I did I'm not telling because it serves no useful purpose. And you're right. People give what they can give. And if they can't give, but they're with us to support, they can do things in other ways. I pointed out those 8, 9 people of which you were one to say that you still had skin in the game. It may not be money, but what about the help? I didn't even get that. So there's ways that people can do things and be in the movement without having to go into their pockets. Everybody can volunteer. Everybody can do that. And I'm just going to leave that there. And Newstoter, I am so sorry because I didn't come in here for that. But it is what it is.
Thank you, Newstoter. I hope somebody reach out to Clefro Dollar.
We definitely need his money. We need those preachers like TDJs and all those guys. We need that money.
Well, definitely.
They're not gonna donate because they are getting money from the government. That's 501.
The other part about it.
They're braced to shut the goddamn mouth.
The other part about it. You say this because people.
Yeah, real quick, guys, because I'm gonna close this space out because DJ.
Because this is important. Let me say this. She's right about the churches. Every church that said that they would give $500, every single one of those churches also said, well, we need to speak. We need to have somebody speak. Everybody want to get on program, but nobody want to work. You all don't know the amount of people that have come to me and said, well, can I hold the mic? Can I do this? You all want to be on stage, but you don't want to do the work. And I have a problem with that. I feel, and I said that in the very beginning, if you all remember last year, I said, this is for y'all. This is for the workers. This is not for the people that just want to get on stage. And I'm adamant about that. And I'm sticking with that. Because they don't have the same conversation that you all have every day. You all are workers. And that's who I'm doing it for, is the workers. I said that in the beginning, and I'm sticking with it now. And I'm not straying from that. I'm not going to do it. So I'm not going to bring any church in that says, yeah, I'll give you some money, but the pastor got to speak. If I let every church that I have invited to give me money and all the pastors speak, we wouldn't have time for anything else. That's how bad it is out here. Everybody want to be on program. And news, you know what that means. Professor, you know what that means. That's a term we say down south. Everybody want to get on program. Means everybody wants to be on stage. And I'm going to leave it there.
All right. So like
y'all take this energy to the next space, y'all. Let's bring it to the next space.
All right. Real quick, guys, and I'm going to go ahead and speak, so I don't want anybody to cut me off and say they got to say anything. But I do appreciate everybody coming into space tonight. And, you know, this was just a recap of the Marcel space. And it was a good space as well, too, because we talked about the actual the bonds and, you know, the reparations and everything, how that should get played out. Like I said before, I'll definitely be coming back Monday. Go enjoy the Memorial Day weekend. My oldest boy is going to be getting ready to have a graduation tomorrow. He's going to high school, so definitely got to go ahead and do that. So, yeah, shout out to him. So,
congratulations to him, Total.
Appreciate that.
Can we do a graduation space?
I'm gonna be honest, Rilla. I ain't gonna be back at the Monday, so I'm gonna be chilling. But
it don't have to be now. It could be like later on, you know.
No, we could do that. We can do it. We can do a graduation space. So
yeah, because my daughter's graduating high school.
Oh, okay.
And I know some other people in here. They got some kids graduating too.
Well, mine, he ain't graduating high school, but he is going to high school, so that's still an accomplishment. And definitely just giving him a shout out for that. And his day tomorrow, and like my aunt, I told her that today, and she like, oh, I know your mama's smiling down on him. So I was like, yeah, I know she'd be happy about that, boy. But definitely just appreciate everybody. And for, like I say, we for those that can support, we understand. If you can't support, we definitely understand that. But like I say, it doesn't have to be a whole lot. If you can, if you got $1 or two or three or whatever. And I say that every night in the space as well too, you know, not to shame anybody. I know sometimes people say, well, damn, I only got $1. And I feel like, hey, if that's what you got, that's what you got. You know, my mom used to give me $1 to put in the collection plate at church, and I ain't feel ashamed. She ain't feel ashamed giving it to me. So what you got is what you got. And I mean, don't feel shame that you're at least donating, at least helping. And for those that can't financially do it, don't feel bad about that either as well too. So for those that can come to the actual reparation rally and make it up there, please come up there and support. For those that can, for those that can't, you know, you can support. You maybe it might be a live stream where you can go ahead and get on and look and see what's going on. So you know, there's different ways to go ahead and support as well too, guys. So I'm not going to keep the space open that much longer. We've been here since 8 o'clock. We've been here almost 4 hours. Time does fly by. So let me give a shout out to everybody who signed up. I think we had about 4 people sign up tonight on the YouTube channel. So that was a success. So thank you to everybody who signed up. Thank you to all the listeners, the speakers. Thank you to those that contributed on Cash App and PayPal as well too. So, and Venmo. So thank you for everybody who supported tonight. So we appreciate you guys. Have a safe Memorial Day for those that we don't get a chance to speak to, guys. Be careful out there. This is a busy time of the season, one of the most traveled holidays. So definitely go ahead and be safe out there. Enjoy your family, your friends, your loved ones. Get on the grill if you're going to barbecue or whatever. Do what you got to do. And, you know, make sure you come to DJ Space. I'm going to try to show up in here for a little bit. But like I say, I got to get up early because we got a graduation tomorrow as well too. So I'll try to show up in here for a second if I can. But guys, take care. Have a good night. And we'll see you Monday.
Peace.
Peace, everybody. Come to the next space, part 2.